All right, so this is the United Nations of Black Desert. This is probably the fourth time, I think, that we've tried to do this. We pulled together regions from all over the globe, like content creators from all over the globe, and we try to get the entire community speaking together at the same time with as many chats as we can to try to talk about the state of the game whenever there's some big changes or we feel like there's issues with the game in some way. Certainly it feels a little bit dire for the West, but we're very curious for the East, what the game kind of feels like here. We have Brobear, who is our translator. Go ahead and say hi, Brobear.
Hello.
How did that? No, of a bitch. All right. That's fine. It's all good. It's fine. All right, ChampionJason, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello. This is gonna happen again, by the way, with Armin and Hem join, so you have to redo this twice.
No. I'm just gonna put NA. I'm just gonna put the regions. That way I don't have to retype everything. Okay.
Yeah, the text is still, you can still see like who's talking on the left side.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it'll be okay.
It'll be fine. That's Quendya. Okay, so Divios or Jason, did you introduce yourself?
I said hello. I guess surely people know me from the last 3 episodes. Otherwise, Valkyrie player, Europe server for about 7.5 years by now. Hello, glad to be here.
Right on. Okay, Divios.
I PvP and I did PvP and Striker and Sage. I don't even know what I'm feeling right now though. but yeah, shit.
Yeah, Zord Dragon.
Right now.
I don't know, man. I'm losing it.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of losing a little bit. All right, and Quendya representing or helping represent MENA.
Yep.
Bro, introduce yourself. Throw me a bone a little bit here.
Wait, okay. Am I gonna introduce myself? Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
go
playing
ahead.
server MENA.
Yeah, you're
I don't
introducing
know how
yourself.
many
a
is
little
like
bit.
7 years, maybe something. Yeah. I'm creating content on YouTube, Twitch, trying to do my best to increase the quality of this community, and this community deserves every good things. That's all I can say.
All right, right on. We have, for the first time, we have console represented. This is SwordKings, previously known as Squidius. Go ahead and shout yourself out there.
Hello. I'm a warrior player, currently in the #1 guild, and also probably the #1 doomer for console. You know, that's all I got.
It's quite the feat. There's a lot of doomers that go on, dooming that goes on console.
Nobody's
crazy.
dooming harder than me right now for console.
That's kind of crazy. All right, and then we have Yambyam representing Korea. Hi, Yambyam. Here, translate that. Have him introduce himself.
얌얌님 계세요?
저는 시청자에게 반갑습니다. 헬로.
그냥 인사.
헬로 in Korea streamer Yambyam.
Yeah, we love it. All right,
There you go.
good stuff. Okay, and then for the first time, we actually have a South America representative. Definitely the most prominent South American streamer that has grown from our category, ZeusGhostz. Zeus, you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, man. Hello. Thanks for the invite. Sorry for my English. It's not my main language. I would try my best to follow you
Yeah,
guys.
you're good.
I play since the launch of the game. Play Berserker. I organized a tournament that rolls for the whole year for 5 years, and now it's kind of dead. So here we are.
True. Now, remember, chats, all of the chats listening, remember, part of what makes the UN podcast very special and very, good feedback is not us sitting in the call. It's the responses that we get from each of the communities. So please, if you have an opinion to vocalize, please do so in the various chats. Doesn't really matter which one you use. It's very important to kind of express your concerns with the game or the things that you like about the game, etc. In a reasonable light during the podcast. That's what makes this special, is that we try to give everybody, as many people as a voice as we can here. So my first question is going to be how people feel the current state of the game is overall for PvE, PvP, and life skilling. Do they feel like it's trending downward, trending upward? How they feel about kind of the overall state of the game. And I'm very intentionally going to ask Yambyam first. Just because I want to hear kind of the unobstructed view of what kind of KR kind of thinks about the game, because they already have the Land of the Morning Light 2 expansion with the Sovereign Weapon.
네, 얌얌님부터 시작한대요. 그래서 지금 현재 게임이 전체적으로 어떤지, 그냥 분위기상, 특히 뭐 PVE, PVP 따지는 게 아니라 PVP, PVE 포함, 그리고 이제 그 아침에 아침의 나라 2가 나왔잖아요. 한국 서버는.
그죠.
네, 그래서 전체적으로 어떻게 지금 반응이 어떤지 한국부터 시작하고 싶대요. 반응. 네.
일단 한국 서버 현재 상황은 이제 아침의 나라 2 이제 도사 업데이트 됐을 때보다 사람이 많이 빠졌어요. 한국 서버도 마찬가지로. 이제 채널에 그 혼잡이 없을 정도로 피크 타임
네.
때도 사람이 좀 빠졌고, 이제 아침의 나라 2가 나왔는데 아침의 나라 2 컨텐츠가 사실상 그 메인 퀘스트랑 무기, 새로운 무기 있잖아요. 군악 무기.
네.
그거를 제외하고는 사실상 없다 보니까 딱히 즐길 요소도 없고, 그리고 이제 기존의 유저들이 원했던 컨텐츠도 없고, 그래서 다들 좋은 분위기는 아니에요 지금 현재. 그리고 또
오케이.
한국만 그런지 모르겠는데 그 거래소 디플레이션이 엄청 심해요 지금. 오히려 새로운 장비를 맞췄는데 맞추기 전보다 수익이 떨어졌어요. 사냥터 수익이, 아이템 값이 내려가서. 그래서 다들 좀 안 좋은 분위기, 좀 많이 가라앉아 있습니다 한국 서버.
아이고. 네. 감사합니다. Okay, so you're saying overall after the DOSA update, there was like a little bit of a, sense of hope, more players coming in slightly, but then right after that, lost players, peak time, even during peak times, server seems to be low population. And he said for after Land of the Morning Light 2 came out, other than main quest and new weapons, as we all know, not much to enjoy left. And he thinks there's no content that the players actually wanted across the Korean server. And he said the deflation is huge on the KR markets. Everything's just on a downward trend, he said.
Okay. Yeah. Look, it's not that I'm happy that he's right. It's that I'm very happy that he agrees with the rest of the sentiment that we're about to share. But I'm not going to share my sentiment here. I don't want to come off as too biased. Let's go down the list. We'll start with ChampionJason. ChampionJason, how is EU doing right now?
Can I quickly just tell that to Yambyam? Because translate what you just said.
Yeah, absolutely.
The prayer hands and all that, so there's no misunderstanding. 왜냐면 지금 블루님 반응 약간 좋은 반응한 게 착각이 아니라 오해 삼을까봐 설명드릴게. 망해가는 게 좋은 게 아니라 약간 한국도 미국이랑 같은 시선이라서 다행이다라는 제스처한 거라고. 오해 없게. So sorry, yeah, Champion, take it away, my bad. Let's make sure there's no misunderstanding.
It's good. Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, I would say it's in a quite disastrous spot. PvP, there's basically nothing really left. I know for a fact that a lot of PvP players are currently playing on a private server because they can't be asked with the normal one anymore because there's no reason to play it. So people legit play the same game because they enjoy the game, just at a different game state on a private server. PvE, I mean, you can see it with the market price and everything. It's just like dying down as well, as far as I know. And overall, it's I haven't heard any positive thing about the game probably in 2 months, if not longer. It's kind of all been negative, at least from what I've heard in months by now.
Yeah. Okay. So can you give us the state? So you said you talked about PvE. That's good. I assume that life skilling is kind of in the same-ish area in the boat if the marketplace is kind of screwed. As far as PvP goes, how's EU receiving the new Node War system now? After the last UN podcast, you said that a lot of guilds were going to quit. What happened?
Oh, they did quit. Tier 3 has 1 guild left. It's the Cho Nation equivalent for the NA people here. It's Konka Chonka in Europe. They're placing on Tier 3 for the free bag. They log in. They sometimes don't even reach 75 people to sign up. It happened before. They sometimes don't reach 100 people for War of Roses, even though it's literally like sign up, note where they don't even need to go there. War of Roses is like 10 minutes of fighting and then get a free bag. But there's no point for them to do it anymore because why would they need the money or the gear for, right?
Right.
Tier 2, I believe there's like 2-3 guilds still placing maybe, and 90% of other guilds left to Tier 1. But even Tier 1, I think we don't have that many guilds anymore. Wait, I can quickly check up. Yeah, Tier 1 there's like
we had
10,
6 on
11
each
guilds
region
left.
Yeah. We had 6 on each region today for T1s. Yeah.
Tier 2 is basically dead. Tier 3 is only Chonka placing for the free bag because why not? Might as well, right? Take the free money if the game ever becomes good again. But
Right.
yeah, as announced, they did die.
Yeah, so okay, complete collapse. All right, and Divios, who should not be a stranger to most of this, is the BDO faker, as we called him last. That's how the Koreans know him. BDO faker. That's how the Koreans know you. Based on the first UN podcast, is what they refer to you as. But Divios, kind of tell us what the state of the game is from North America's perspective, and kind of what's been going on with you and your guild.
So much like everyone's kind of saying, everything is kind of useless on the market except for Debos, which are going to slowly get there, and Tet Fallen Gods. Everything else kind of worth nothing. Obviously, with Sovereign Weapons coming, that will probably push it even more, but that's whatever. So the PV side of it, the grinding just feels kind of pointless. It just, I don't know, it feels really weird. PvP side, it's just getting lower, worse and worse every week, and Guild League's supposed to come back, but I don't know who's going to be fighting anymore in Guild Leagues. So it's kind of, that's kind of awkward. Node Wars Tier 3. I mean, I didn't see today, but yesterday there was nobody on Tier 3 or Tier 2. And then T1 had like 12 guilds or something, 15 guilds. Usually Tier 1, I mean, at least up till last week, T1s were pretty popping, but that's about the only thing in regards to PvP. And yeah.
And you want to give a little bit about Joe dying and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's been kind of like a thing that's been slowly in the works for a while, but it was always kind of like a held on to hope, like, oh, it's okay, we'll wait for this, see what this is like. And it just, each time it was kind of just like a kick down until it's like, all right, well, we're done waiting kind of thing.
Right on.
And just called it.
Okay. Yeah. Quendya, how's MENA doing over there? Is any light at the end of that tunnel?
So MENA is a small server. People should know that also. And we are used to these kind of small, kind of like, you're being small, you feel small. It's okay. The general thoughts about, for example, for PvE, people generally complain about the imbalanced situation of PvE between classes. They're, shining classes. People want to play their compared to bad classes. They're complaining about that, and we all know that PA doing that intentionally. We don't know if there is actually solution for that. But overall, for PvE in the market seems okay. But about PvP, the new Node War system, they overall like the system. They like me. But the problem is the system, while the system is working, that's the problem. Like, compared to the other ones, you always have a chance to fight with somebody. The system is forcing you to fight somebody. But the conditions in the fight, that's the problem. That's why people complaining. That's why people quitting, or that's why people every day complaining. For example, yesterday we did the Node War. There was 3 guilds in we were in Valencia. 3 guilds. We did an amazing PvP. We had a chance to do an amazing PvP, but it just ended in 25 minutes. And it's an ironic situation. Like, we got it. Like, 1% HP of our fort, we got it. It was funny. It was funny for us. Like, it was irritating for our opponents. There was nothing we can do about it. What we can do about PvP in the Node Wars, we can change the entire system. Keep the main system same if they want to do that. I'm not saying that roll back everything. We can keep the system, we can change the ingredients of the system. So Node Wars maybe can be saved like that, but people needs to listen what community say. Our developers needs to listen, and they need to proper test team to test everything properly. Or if they don't have, I am okay with that, then we are testing for them. They have to listen what we say. On the other hand, like AOS is okay. I like AOS. I don't have time to do AOS in these days, but AOS, like, everything is so casual, everything is so monotone. Like, we have to change something in AOS, maybe map, maybe some rules, maybe some different things, and also the rewards of AOS. They non-stop giving the same rewards. Divios talked in his videos, for example, they non-stop giving the same costume. Like there should be something different, for example, to draw attention of people, to hype, they ignite the flame in their heart. Like in Guild League, they're giving non-stop the same thing. Like if I win, for example, in AOS, if I become like a 5 times Rakanya, like 5 season, I should get something special for that. So I should push myself, and everybody can push themselves for these kind of things. So PA should remove the monotone things in their contents. That's what people think in my territory.
Okay, right on. Thank you, Quendya. All right, so this is the first time we've had console on the podcast. I'm scared to ask, SwordKings, what do you want to say on behalf of the console community? How is console doing right now?
Just like you asked if there's a light at the end of the tunnel, I can assure you we are at the bottom of that tunnel and under that ground. They have forgotten completely about us. We're missing 50% of the game. Nobody's doing anything. It's a barren wasteland, and that's just NA. If I can speak for NA, I can speak a little bit for EU because I talked to some of the EU guys, but EU has been dead far longer than NA has. NA has recently suffered as of just recent times. EU has been dead for probably over a year, if not more. It's been really bad over there. The number one guild just basically sat on a castle for like 100 and some odd weeks. They just didn't move. Nobody challenged them, and they were just there. Main was on the Calpheon castle, I believe, for I don't know. It was a long time, and the whole there was a plan to it too. They sat on that region, and the whole goal was to manipulate the market for distos. That was their biggest thing: to sit on Calpheon, get the max disto drop rates, and then straight up hold that down for as long as they could. And they'd kick everybody out of the grind zones for Star's End, and for the longest time, when that was the only content we had, because Star's End was the highest grind spot at that time.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And it's really bad.
Right on. Okay. Yeah.
The market's bad. The
bad.
PvP scene is even worse. We don't have AOS. No guild league. RBF is still Castle Ruins. No, everything's really bad. It's on fire. There's no positive. There's nothing I can say that's positive.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. And for the first time, we also have ZeusGhostz representing South America. Zeus, I know you haven't been super crazy active with BDO recently, but that's probably has to do a lot with the state of the game. So do you want to speak a little bit about what's kind of going on in South America, the state of PvE, PvP, life skilling, etc., what it feels like to play there right now?
All right, man. Well, I came here because I have a lot to say, man. And it's funny because the thing that it's most crazy right now on SA, no one talked about. So I will start with that because PvP and PvP on SA is pretty much the same here that everyone talked about. But we have another problem there that it's hacks. You know, this is
really
so I'm going to start with that because I think this is a specific problem from SA, and I believe that we and I always say we, but it's kind of I created this a little of this problem because we have the Fight Club that it's a tournament that I organized for like 5 years and it rolls for the whole year. It was something that I created with the community and the support of external companies, not from the support of Brobear, and I need to make that very clear. We created that, and it's crazy. You know, it's a tournament. It's a show. I believe that a lot of people, even off SA, knows Fight Club. We do a lot of fights every week, and it happened for a long time. And some names kind of came up from that. You know, we have a lot of people that became champions, and we have money prizes every month, and something like that. And one of the people that got banned was one of the biggest champions on the tournament, you know. So a lot of people knew his name, that was Zed, and he was kind of the explosion from this because after him a lot of other people got banned and a lot of other people that were known on the community.
Oh my God.
And yeah, there's a lot of people that is very known on the community that got banned. Other streamers got banned as well. It became a horror show, NSA. So right now, this hack problem is still a problem. We have clips, recent clips that people on Red Battlefield wrecking like crazy, you know, Archer just killing everyone with one skill, one shot, everyone.
Yeah, we saw that Archer.
So,
we saw the Archer clip.
Oh, you saw that, right? I believe you saw that. So right now on SA, we have this cloud of hacks. You know, everyone talks about it. Everyone is afraid of it. Not only the problems that you showed here are there as well, but we have this other problem that it's still there. Every week we are waiting to see who else will be banned. You know, because they're still rolling, right? So the situation is not good, but right now, I've been creating content for this game for a long time. I love this game, as all of you here, and what I see right now is that I believe that Black Desert is trying to go to another way. You know, the different way that everyone here wants. Black Desert is going to another way. He's going to a casual side. He's going to something that everyone is happy. You know, I don't know. I really don't understand the path, but it's clear that it's not the path that anyone here wants. So
right.
I'm like you said, I'm trying to do other stuff right now. I'm playing other games and creating content on different scenarios because I don't know. Black Desert is not. It's not going to where I want him to go, you know. So right. I don't know if it will go there, but the situation. I think the situation is bad for people that play the game for a long time, that know the game for a long time, that wants PvP, that wants the things that got killed somehow. But there are some other group of people that are happy. The new players that got new weapons, that got Black Pants, Black Star for free. They are happy, you know. They are engaging in the game right now. But as we all know, the magic will die in some point. Like it's dead for some of us. But right now, I see that this little group of people, the new people that are coming to the game, and they are always coming new people to the game, and they are kind of happy with the game. But the other side of this, people that are in the game for some time, it's the same for everyone, I guess, and we are not happy, you know.
Okay, yeah, we got you. All right, right on. Yeah, honestly, that Zed guy reached out to me, and he was if I remember correctly, he was trying to show me that he didn't actually exploit. So like that was kind of a big deal. I chose not to get involved with the entire thing. But like, yeah, I heard about all that. Kind of crazy that it's becoming a bigger and bigger issue. And it seems to just be an SA thing because like we don't really have too many problems with hacking in the rest of the world here. Okay, so I think across the board, we can all just collectively say the game is not going the direction that we want it to go right now. No one is happy currently. So we're going to break this down one item at a time. We will start from the smallest issues, in my opinion, and we'll work outward. Smallest issue, in my opinion, is that the PvP is struggling. That is the smallest aspect of the player base. And so we obviously should probably talk about this a little bit. PvP has been on the decline in North America since the new Node War systems came out. Open world PvP is also it's been kind of dead since the one-sided deck changes. And they rolled those out. So like the Node War changes, we have not heard heads or tails of, but we're down at under 18 total guilds participating in North America. My understanding was that there were 14 total guilds participating in EU today. I think that Asia had, somebody reported 18 in Asia today. So like we're under 20 guilds across the board, kind of worldwide. I'm sure that console is definitely not doing super great with it either. And neither is SA. So like this new Node War system does not seem to be it. I am curious, Okay, so Brobear, have you been kind of like low-key trying to keep up with translating for Yambyam and his viewers there, or do you need a minute? I apologize.
Yeah. No. I've been translating towards. I'm DMing him, and he's showing the DM on his stream.
Perfect.
So
Okay,
I've been kind of doing like a rough.
Just try to get it as close as you can.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of curious. What does Yambyam and Korea? How is the Node War system working in Korea right now? Is the scene healthy? Do they like the Node War system? Are they only doing it for rewards? Like, what's the situation over there?
Okay. 지금 일단은 PVP부터 질문하셨는데 현재 북미에서는 PVP가 굉장히 하락 중이거든요. 역사상. 예, 그 전쟁 시스템이 몇 개월 전에 바뀌고 나서 지금 총 활동 전쟁에서 활동 길드 총 틀어서 18길드가 있는데 최근에 따라서 많이 떨어진 거거든요, 그게.
네.
티어 1만 해도
Jason, I
주말에 한
forgot,
24길드가 있었는데 지금 총 틀어서 18길드밖에 없어가지고 예, 근데 현재 한국에서도 지금 상황이 어떤지 그 좀 반응이나 상황, 특히 전쟁 또 오픈월드는 죽은 지 오래됐으니까 네.
일단 노드워 그 거점전은
네, 너도
거의 아직 현재까지 거의 비슷한 것 같아. 머리수 자체는. 까지도 일단은 평균
얼마 동안 그러니까 얼마 동안 이게
거점전 바뀐 뒤로부터 크게 길드 개수 자체는 바뀌지 않았고 이제 연맹이 해체됐다 재조립되고 이런 거는 있었는데 막 길드가 많이 사라졌다 그러지는 않았어요. 한국은. 오히려 3단 거점 이제 무제한 티어 3라 그러나? 거기 이제 머릿수가 오히려 초창기보다는 좀 늘어났다. 한국은. 일단 이제 1티어는 비슷하고
1티어는 똑같다.
그리고 또 장미 전쟁인데 한국은 그 장미 전쟁이 이제 3번 진행됐는데 그 중에 2번은 맹주 이제 그 오더하는 길드 있잖아요. 거기가 없어서 진행되지 않았고 한 번밖에 진행이 안 됐어요. 한국은. 그래서 맹주를 좀 꺼려한다. 한국은 현재 장미 전쟁에서 그런 분위기.
꺼려한다는 게 안 좋아하는 건가요? 그게?
네.
그렇죠.
재미도 없고 오히려 지면 욕만 먹고 잘 안 하려고 그래요. 맹주 자체를.
오케이.
그리고
그래서 이 생각 더 있네. 네.
솔라레는 좀 이슈가 많았었는데 그래도 중반부부터는 좀 잠잠하고 좀 솔라레에서는 그 F3 긴급 탈출 찾는 버그 그런 것 때문에 좀 이슈가 좀 많이 됐었어요. 초창기.
맞다. F3. 네. 초창기라는 게 이번 변경 초창기요? 아니면은
이번 시즌 초창기.
이번 시즌 초창기네.
대충 이 정도 PVP 상황은?
네, 잠시만요. Let me just okay. He's saying overall in Node Wars, not too much of a difference in the number of active guilds across the board since the changes.
So they only have like 4.
Yeah, they had a very small number to start off with for a while now, as we've talked about in previous podcasts. He said there are just some slight changes to like alliances, obviously, that'll happen across all. Like, I don't think that's a indicator. But he did say there's a slight increase in uncapped Node Wars versus prior in KR
because
servers.
of the rewards. Right.
Yeah, probably because of the rewards.
Right.
He didn't mention that, but I'm assuming, he didn't say that, but I think so. He said T1's still the same. He said War of the Roses, there were three War of the Roses, but 2 times it was canceled or didn't happen because there was no, I forgot the word, like there's like a leading guild or whatever it's called for it to happen. Yeah. So there was that didn't happen. So there was only 1 actual War of the Roses and it never happened after twice out of the 3 times. And he says it's because of the perception. No one wants to in Korea kind of take that role because, if you perform bad, it's all about the perception, I guess. And he said AOS had a lot of issues early this season, especially like them finding out about the F3 cash out bug and other ways to do it to pull off to see the V escape. He ended with that comment about the AOS. Yes,
okay,
sir.
so Korea still only has 3 or 4 guilds node warring for the most part, and then they have some uncapped people that are going for rewards. Okay, so the node war system has not done anything for Korea. They remain net neutral on it overall.
From what he said, net neutral, yes.
Net neutral. Okay. And for the rest of the world, It is a net steep decline. The Node War system has been a complete disaster for North America and Europe, for sure. In console, I think it was already a disaster in console, but now I would assume that it's even worse now. Is that correct? SwordKings, this is when you talk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading my chat. Can you repeat that one more time?
You're good. Your Node War system, is it worse or better than the old Node War system?
Far worse. Infinitely worse. Infinitely worse. Pretty much Uncapped died. It fell apart. There was nobody wants to challenge the number one guild, which I can't fault them. They tried for such a long time, and when alliances were able to take us out in like 15 minutes or whatever, that was peak. And for them, and then now they can't like get rid of us in an instant, so they're forced to fight us for an hour. So they're just getting farmed for an hour, and then nobody wants to deal with that. It's better that they just go to a T4, T5, or a T5 that we're not on, and they just go over there and do their thing. Sometimes I've heard recently some other bigger guilds went down to T1s and started beating up on the baby guilds. I heard that in my last stream. Somebody was telling me about that, which that was not. It's not something I personally support, but I guess you do what you got to do to make the game fun for you, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's been a net negative pretty much.
Okay, yeah. I mean, this is kind of where we're at the end of the day here. Okay, and in SA, I assume that Node Wars are kind of cooked as well. I don't know if you guys had an active Node War scene before too much.
Yeah, the things are. I got some information from Crowley. Is on the chat. He's the one roasting the Wars podcast right now, and he told me some things that are happening. It's pretty much the same. It's not that good, but tier 1 and tier 2, there are some movement there. There are some new guilds, but just new guilds doing this capped thing, and the uncapped, it's kind of dead. There is only one guild, strong guild, that is still there. No one's is fighting them. The other strong guild kind of quit the game as well. So last week we didn't have War of the Roses because there was no guilds to accept the leadership, so that there was no War of Roses. So it's not the uncapped PvP. It's kind of problematic.
Okay, right on. All right, so I'm not really sure necessarily what needs to be done with it. Divios, you've been in Node Wars for probably longer than the rest of us. Maybe Jason and you have been doing it just as long. Divios, what would you like to see done with Node Wars? Do you even know where to start with it, or is it just kind of cooked?
So, I mean, it depends which way we're going. If we're going back to the old system was very, very far from perfect too. It also had a bunch of issues, and you only really got them around them by having like 15, 20 rules set up before the fight starts,
right?
In which 80% of the guilds would ignore that about 2 minutes in when they're losing, but whatever. But the new system, you can't really avoid a lot of like the issues like you could with making rules. So if you're going to like try to fix this system, or go back to the other system and fix that one, it kind of just depends which way you're going.
Okay. Well, what would you do if you were going to fix this current system? What do you think needs to be done to try to fix this system? Or is this system cooked?
Because I haven't thought about it in a couple months, mainly just because the old system I was so over the last like year.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm kind of cooked with it too. Like, it's very difficult to kind of figure out what might actually work with the new system. Personally, I don't see a way forward with the new system. I would see maybe you keep the new system for like the T1 scene, and then like capped and uncapped are like the old system. Like,
the easiest thing,
like a hybrid maybe. Like
the easiest like one change like that you could do instantly is that like these wars shouldn't split until like 10 guilds are on the region total, or 8. Like it shouldn't be splitting at 4, because this system isn't made. It's not made to have 2v2s. It's not made for 1v1. It's not made for 3v3. It's made for having a bunch of forts, a bunch of people walking around and just doing stuff. It's not made to have 2 guilds 1v1 in one spot, because those wars are literally just whoever takes the fort first wins, unless it goes like 45 minutes or there's a massive power imbalance.
Right. Well,
and But when it gets to bigger wars, I enjoy it. It's just that, yeah, if you anytime you're stuck with like one or two forts, it's just it's boring beyond belief 90% of the time.
Right, I agree. Does anyone in here have suggestions for what to do with the current Node War system in its current set? We're all seems like pretty unhappy with it, or I guess Korea's like relatively net neutral. They really couldn't go any lower than they currently are. I'll be honest. Like that 3 or 4 guilds is kind of a pathetic amount of people on the PvP scene. It's not getting any lower than that. But does anyone in here have suggestions for it?
May I?
I would have one actually, I guess.
From MENA.
Yeah, let's hear from Quendya, and then we'll go to Jason.
Okay, so I totally agree with the Divios, what he said, because the system is designed to force people to fight in one place, and I like the idea. And right now, I don't know the rule. What was the rule? Like over 5 guilds, it's making it split. So every day we're talking about. In these days, in my streams, people talking about game is dying, Node War dead, blah blah blah, classic negative things. And I was just saying that give me some recommendations. And this is my also idea, like 10 or more until like 11 or 12, or I don't know. Put everyone in the same region. Put everyone in Balanus or put everyone in Serendia if they apply for Node War in Tier 1. On the other hand, people still doing politics. PA said that we bring that system is to prevent the politics, to save the casual and the unexperienced guilds. People still doing politics, even in this system. In 10 minutes, in 20 minutes, people trying to just communicate with each other from Discourse and from some other parts. So let's make it every guild anonymous against each other. You will only be able to see your own guild members, and the remain part of the game, for example, it will say Guild A, anonymous player. Guild B, it will not even say Guild A or Guild B. It will just be anonymous enemy. That's all. And you will only fight for your own sake. You will only care. Your guild leader or your shot caller will say, we will get that tier 4 fort. We will get that question mark fort. And we will only get that. We will only focus that. We don't care the other parts of the game. And that's my suggestion. This will bring a chaotic situation. And if they just bring that 10 to 12 or more guilds, just force them into stay in one place, it will ignite the flame of the people. But it will also prevent the politics. People still doing politics, and I hate that situation.
Okay, right on. Jason?
Yeah, I honestly hard agree with the keeping guilds on one region until there's like at least 8 or 10 or something, because like splitting at 5 is stupid. Another suggestion that I think might be like nice to see for a lot of people is for the tier 3 right now, we have like 75 on Karma and Kalfin, right? Make one of them 30 cap and let people specifically sign up for 30-man uncapped content. It used to be the best content in the goddamn game. It popped off so hard they had to change the entire Node War system because people rather went to a 30-man cap instead of like 75 plus or 100 cap. People enjoy that way more. Like, it's still dead, but like maybe some can enjoy that at least, right? At that point. So change Kalfin to 30-man cap, leave Karma 75 for the people that want it, and then let people decide if they want to go 30 or 75 man. Uncapped gear though. People want to use their main gear in Node War. They grinded 8 years for it. I'm not sure how to fix this, but one thing that I would say needs adjustment is that there's not really a winning condition for the fort holder. Like once you have the fort, and it's not just a 1v1, right? If it's a 1v1, you just wait the timeout and you win. If it's a 2v1, 3v1 or something, you're kind of just sitting there waiting for your fort to get chipped down, and you don't really have something to do against it, right? Like in the old Node War system, in a 2v1, 3v1, you could send like an offensive squad to the other base and like harass them so the pressure on you gets lower, or you maybe even do enough damage to take them out and win. In a new system, you kind of just wait until your fort dies out, because you can't really go offensive on anything, right? Like, you can destroy the flag, but who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, they're gonna put a new one, or they're like gonna respawn town. Right? You don't have a winning condition that you can play for. You're sitting there trying to defend, but eventually you know you die because they just run in and hit your fort. And that's like super like unfun to know, like, oh, it's a 2v1, there's no point in us even getting for the fort except for playing the RNG timer that if we hold it, maybe we win. But like, you kind of want to have a clear win condition to incentivize people for like playing for the win, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I think that right now one of the biggest problems with Node War is that there's There's no competition. Node Wars is content. Hopefully, Brobear, you can translate this reasonably. Node Wars are supposed to be content for PvP players. Most of the Black Desert community does not like competitiveness in this game. Most of the game, like the player base, doesn't want it. However, the people that come to Node Wars want to feel that competition. They want to feel that strategy, that sense of cohesion with their guild. And currently, the current system in Node Wars does not encourage you to have that cohesion as a guild. There's no objective really that you're searching for. There's no strategy involved. It's just dive the fort repeatedly. And it's not competitive at all. It's basically just whoever can last hit the fort. And it doesn't feel very good because you're just sitting there getting farmed on repeat over and over and over again until you try to get the fort. Typically what people are using the Node War system for nowadays are just to try to get the rewards, and then they kind of just get away. If they don't feel like they can get the rewards, then they just don't go. It's kind of where we're at. So like, I would personally, I'm not sure that this system can be changed or that can be brought to speed. I think that this Node War system might work for T1 Node Wars, and then you could roll it back for the capped and uncapped, or you could do a hybrid for capped and uncapped, where like you're still alleviating like the stress on leadership cores, where like the base is already built for you, but you're still using recovery centers, but you're still using supply depots and all this stuff, just like the old system. But like the current system also does not, like, one of the biggest issues is the current system does not prepare you in any way to do siege. So you don't have new guilds, all these new guilds that try Node Wars. One, they're not coming back in most cases, like consistently enough. And two, even if they do come back, they don't feel they can grow to a competitive enough, to get a competitive enough advantage to try siege in the first place. Siege is super different than Node Wars. They're completely opposite things. No new guilds can go to siege because they don't understand any of the mechanics. So I don't see how you can keep this current Node Wars system and the current siege system. And the solution is not to completely nuke siege into the ground, because Node Wars is not working. It's just not working. The system either needs dramatic changes, or in my opinion, it needs to be rolled back for some of it, and a hybrid needs to be implemented for guilds. But that's my take on Node Wars. I've stopped doing serious Node Wars altogether. It just doesn't make any sense anymore. And like I said, most of the other guilds have kind of given up on competitive Node Wars at this point as well.
Blue, may I speak a little about this?
Go ahead.
What I see here is something that we did a lot on streams, that it's to gather players that know about the game and has their issues and try to come with solutions, right? And most of the times we always get some really good ideas, just like we are doing right now. The problem that we reached, it's that for who they are trying to fix each thing on the game. When we say the war is not good, it's not good for us, right? So when we try to come with solutions, we try to come with solutions that we want. But is that what Jay wants? Is that who is he focusing on? That is my main issue, because when we are trying to give ideas to a problem they are not trying to solve. I don't know if you understand me.
No, that was a perfect way of saying it. Yes. Perfect way of saying it.
They are trying to focus on some kind of players, and they do it. The players that are complaining from harassment on the field, they got what they wanted. So players that don't want to organize a guild, don't want to have the trouble to understand it, to train, were complaining. So they have what they wanted. So they are doing exactly what they need to do for for a specific group of the game, and that's, for me, is the main problem. So if we want to, my idea is change the way. You need to focus on the people, on other people. As long as they do not do that, no matter what idea we come out with, it's not going to happen, because we are not the focus. So I believe this is a main problem, not only for PvP, but for the whole the whole game. You know, people from other categories of the game are complaining as well. They have a lot of other problems. PvP is not the only problem on the game. You know, that a lot of problems in a lot of other sectors of the game, and it happens in the same way. They are focusing on the new player, the player that is coming now, the player that's coming back, and don't wanna have this whole way, this whole spend a lot of time to get there, to feel that he's winning, that he's going somewhere. For me, this is who Probase is focusing on. As long as they are focusing on those people, we are going to be here forever, man. Complaining, having great ideas, and they don't care.
I couldn't agree more. Does Yambyam have anything to say right now? Or like, because I was going to pivot to the next discussion.
Can I say one thing about
Divios,
Siege?
go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So it's actually something they talked about like a year ago. They talked about it recently a bit too. And they've constantly made changes to castle defense, where they keep on wanting to, like, oh, they want the person to be able to defend 1vx easier. That's what they've been saying. They add the what's it called, the relic thing, so you can't fly in castle, you can't spawn in the castle anymore, all this stuff. But you could do everything in the game, and it doesn't matter when you the final boss of the 1vx isn't the players, but the fact that as soon as you walk in with 300 people, it says please try again for everybody involved, and you can't play the game anymore. It doesn't matter. You could make me, I could be 3 times the strength of them. It doesn't matter. I can't move. I can't press any buttons.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
The server doesn't work. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I completely agree. The lag is a serious issue. Go ahead, Jason.
I would like to chip in on where Divios just mentioned, right? Like the siege changes that we've seen, like I think it was introduced last week. This would have been a banger change in 2019, where you averaged castle siege on a defensive side, right? Where if you wanted to get a siege going as a castle holder, your options where you get zerged by 4 guilds, 5 guilds, or 6 guilds would have been a banger change back then. Right now, the only siege you get is 1v1s, man, because there is 2 guilds sieging every week. Nobody sieges anymore because the game is dead, right? Like, this change made it funny enough right now, siege even worse. Because all you get on a castle region right now in Europe is a 1v1. And that is completely pointless now. Like, that is a completely unfeasible fight unless you are fighting rank 1 versus rank 8 or 9 or 10 or something. Anything that's like rank 1 versus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you can't 1v1 anymore, bro. It's not possible. So this change, funny enough, made Siege worse, even though it would have been good 5 years ago.
Agree. So how do I phrase that? Recent, what's it called? The barrier change? Well,
they called it something artifact or relic or something. Relic or something.
Dakrota's relics.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I got it. All right, perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna pivot to a little bit more of a bigger issue, because node wars are a problem. PvP is a problem. Open world PvP is also its own standalone issue on its own. Open world PvP is also a serious issue with like the deck changes and things like this, but like they've said many times they don't want to revert that, and at this point we can't even get them to change node wars. So it's time to pivot to something else. And I think it should be kind of the state of, I kind of want to voice a little bit of the state of the game in the West and kind of where we're at, so that the developers understand what's happening in the West. Because right now we're seeing, Brobear, try to translate this to the best of you can. We're seeing a pretty solid collapse of the Black Desert community in the West, and the overall activity of guilds, not just on console, but on PC primarily. We're seeing a huge decline in the player base. We're at our all-time low here over the last year here. People are talking about boycotting the game. People are really upset. I'm really upset. Everyone is at maximum frustration because we do not feel that the developers care about what the West, North America, and EU, particularly, I know, say about the game or our feedback on the game. And we are the ones that pay their salaries. We're the ones that pay 67 to 70% of their market share comes from NA and EU. SA feels the same. Yeah, I'm sure that the entire world feels this way. Over 90% of their market share is outside of Korea. And we feel that the developers do not listen to a single word of what we are asking for. Furthermore, people are talking about boycotting and just quitting the game altogether, or just organizing boycotts and things like this. Like, we're talking about losing millions of dollars in the West right now if the developers don't address what is going on. Okay. We don't feel heard. We don't feel listened to. And a huge reason behind this problem is because they keep releasing content in Korea before they release it to the rest of the world. It's incredibly frustrating as a Western player to hear, yeah, well, the content's finished, so we're just going to push it out. Well, the content's not finished until it's translated and localized. It's just that simple. We pay your bills, okay? You should not be using Korea as a test server. Ultimately, what happens in the game is Perlibus finishes, with quotation marks, their content. They give it to Korea. Korea gives feedback to the developers. The developers change the game based on what Korea wants. Then the West gets the game some months later. We try to give feedback, but the developers don't hear anything because they're already on to the next thing. They think the game's already perfect. So they don't want to hear feedback from anyone but Korea because they keep releasing the content in Korea first. That's the state of the game in the West. And it's not the Koreans' fault. It's not the Korean server's fault. The developers should be listening. I believe if they release it as worldwide content, we'd see them listen to much more worldwide feedback. And I think that Korea would get used as a test server less, which they don't want to be. And I think that the rest of the world will be much happier, everyone receiving the content at the same time. One thing I do want people to understand is that this company's motto is the adventure never stops. That's what it's supposed to be. But instead, what the developers have created is a situation where we all of the rest of us have to watch Korea have this content, and the adventure never starts for the rest of the world. We don't get to have an adventure. We see Korea have the adventure. They're the ones that get to discover all of the content. They're the ones that get to give the feedback. They're the ones that get to discover all of the new zones and everything. We don't get any of that. There's no sense of discovery in the West. We already know everything that is going to happen on day one and exactly what we do because you've released it in Korea months prior. We're upset. We're really upset. Does anyone want to add to that? Does anyone feel I'm overshooting it? Jason, SwordKings, ZeusGhostz, Quendya.
I don't
No, I
think
think you hit the nail on the head.
overshooting. I would say it's nothing new though that we don't feel listened to or catered to. Like, it's nothing new. We've been asking for 8 years to get the content as the same time as Korea, right? Or like we haven't felt listened to in like 8 years by now.
Right.
I would say the difference is that until about like half a year ago now, right? The people didn't or like cared less because they still had content to play for and thrive for, right? Like people still get up to fight around here and there. I mean, a lot of people here are PvP players, so like a lot of them just still had content to go for and like had their weekly thing of Siege, No More, EOS or something, like gear up, fight around, open world and stuff, right? So they didn't care too much. Like it was annoying, but they still had a game to play, right? But at this point, we don't have a game to play anymore. And this is the reason why now everyone's leaving. I would say it's less of a boycott of like, oh, they don't listen to us, so we boycott it because they haven't listened in 8 years. It's they took away the game that we have loved for 7 years now and we have played for and strived for. And now there's no reason to stay anymore. So now we're all just leaving at the same time. It's not like a organized boycott of everybody. It's just for everyone, the game has no point in playing anymore.
Right. So yeah, again, I'm not trying to attack the Korean server for any reason. I'm just saying that like we don't feel that there's a way for us to get feedback through to the developers in any way. We truly do not feel that we can reach their ears and that they will meaningfully change anything about the game. Right. So I'd love to hear what Yambyam thinks.
Sorry, one second. Just catching up on what you said. I'm
You're good.
typing everything. One second.
Yeah.
Just reiterated the last part you mentioned about the you're not attacking Korean server. Okay, sorry. You wanted to hear Yambyam's feedback about the whole thing? 얌얌님, 제가 지금 DM 보내준 거에 대해서 약간 반응이나 약간 한국 서버의 시점을 듣고 싶다네요. 네, 좀 길죠.
일단은 종미 블루님이 말하신 거 이제 한국 서버 유저분들도 다 공감하고요. 우리가 막 스포일러 당해서 흥미 떨어지는 거 그런 거 다 공감되고 그리고 이제 한국 서버 입장에서 말하면은 이제 한국 서버 먼저 컨텐츠 업데이트해서 즐기고 버그 수정되고 그러는 거 한국 서버도 막 그렇게 달갑게 맞아진 않아요 이게. 저희도 왜 펄어비스가 왜 한국만 이렇게 테스트 서버로 쓰는지 물어보고 싶을 정도라 우리도 막 이런 거 되게 불편해. 버그 있고 게임을 해야 되는데 버그 때문에 게임을 못 해요. 이런 상황이 되게 한국에서 되게 싫어하는 분위기입니다. 그리고 개인적으로 좀 말하고 싶은데 이제 김재희는 지금 소통 안 한다 그러잖아. 한국 피드백 기준으로 패치하고 이제 소통을 안 한다. 외국은 이런 식. 그거에 대해서 말하고 싶은 게 지금 김재희는 그 누구랑도 얘기를 안 하고 있어요. 혼자 벽 보고 그저 내 이제 박물관 하나 만들어 놓고 거기에 전시해 예술 작품 아침의 나라 같은 것만 찍어내고 그냥 유저들이 뭘 불편해하고 유저들이 뭐 어떻게 하면 재밌을지 이런 거에 대해 관심이 하나도 없어요. 김재희는 지금 그저 나만의 세계에 빠져서 자꾸 그냥 예술 작품만 찍어내려 그러는 예술병에 걸린 상태인 것 같아요. 제이가 뭐 아무런 말도 안 들어줘요. 소통도 없고 그냥 혼자만 벽 보고 얘기하는 느낌. 김재희는 되게 답답해요. 한국도.
Okay. Yambyam says that the KR server players completely agree with what you just said. Because I paraphrased, but I try to be as lengthy and detailed as I could with what you said, Blue. They empathize with how it doesn't feel new for NA or other servers across the world when KR players get it months in advance. And they totally agree that it probably doesn't feel like new content by the time it becomes live to other servers. He also wanted to say that KR players also don't like the feeling of being a test server, because every time they get a new patch or new content, there's just so many bugs, and it might be better if there's so many bugs anyways, just give it to everyone else at the same time, I guess. And he's saying that it's basically unplayable a lot of the time. It just gets in the way. It doesn't feel good, the current system of them rolling out the content. And then he wanted to add a personal thing. He said personally he wanted to say he understands how the rest of the servers feel like Jae-hee Kim is not listening at all, but he wants to really emphasize that he's not listening to any feedback, including the Korean players at all. He said it's like talking to a wall completely. And then they have like a little meme in Korea going on calling him the artist, like 예술 작품, saying that this is his personal art project, kind of. That's kind of the vibe. That's my best translation. That the Koreans are calling it, it's a word called 예술 작품. They write that a lot in the chats, and then he reiterated it. It's like this is Jae-hee Kim's personal art project, and that's what the Koreans are calling it right now. It's like a term, 예술 작품, yeah.
Jesus.
And then the last thing he said was it's extremely frustrating, and then that's when it ended. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad he at least agrees with what we have going on.
Yeah.
I'm glad at least they understand. It's not looking good here in the West. We're really upset. That's just one of the big things that I wanted to get off my chest and talk about. The next, probably the biggest issue with the game, is the problem with PvE currently. Currently, we're in a state of you have to grind for Deboreka accessories. Nothing else in the game matters. You do your dead gods, your Deboreka accessories, and your sovereign weapons. In my opinion, and this is going to be tough to translate, but try to do your best. When you start the game, you have a ton of options for how you're supposed to build. And new players can mess it up very easily. Okay. There's a lot of different directions that they can start from, but ultimately they end up all at the same spot, right? They all have to build Devos. They all have to build dead gods. They all have to build sovereign weapons. Okay. It should be exactly the opposite. It should be new players starting with one gear path so that they can't mess up and they have a longer chance of staying with the game. And then once they get to end game, us end game players who played the game for tens of thousands of hours should start to have branch out options, because we want diversity in our guild and in our build path. We want to be able to build different things. We want to be able to do different things. We shouldn't feel required to go grind for Deboreka accessories for the next 2 years. We should be able to do options like accuracy accessories, or hybrid should be an option as well. DR and evasion we'll talk about that in a second. But like, there should be lots of different options for build diversity at endgame, and right now it's completely backwards. And it feels really bad to reach the end game and just say, okay, well, now you have to grind for Deboreka's for the rest of the game, because none of the other accessories are worth a damn at any point. They're not worth anything. Ogre Ring, Crescents, Narcs, nothing is worth anything. Debos are cleanly the best, and so you should just start building them basically right out of seasonal. Like, that's where we're at. You just start going into Tet Debos and you just start your grind. It's absolutely obnoxious. So I would translate that over Brobear. Does anyone have anything they want to add to that, and like their frustrations with progression and stuff? We don't necessarily have to go in order. Does anybody have anything to add about progression specifically? I know there's a lot of complaints about this.
I guess this is the major problem. It's a major problem, right? So as PA on end game, focus only on new progression, new gear, more grind, and just no content as well. This is going to go endless forward. So I believe my frustration specifically is that we need content. I just want a reason to get the power. Why I'm getting this power? What I'm going to do with that? So we don't have content. So I believe this is very frustrating, because I believe Black Desert has this big potential to be this great game, to have this great content, and the good or almost good content that we have sometimes just get removed and never comes back again, and we keep just putting new gear, new accessories, new weapons, and for what? This for what? It's what I'm waiting for a long time. This is at least my big frustration with the game.
Yeah. Jason,
also like to add in that, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like it feels way less rewarding, the upgrades you get, right? Like, I don't know how many people in here remember playing the game, like, I don't know, 2018, you got your first Pandemic, and all of a sudden your damage increased by 15%.
Oh, it was crazy.
Legit 210 people, it was crazy. Yeah. You were like, bro, I've grinded for this like 3 months. It finally popped off. I'm loving my life. I can 1v3 now. I'm a literal god walking around, right? Now you grind like 300 hours for Pandemic for what? You get 1% PvE damage. PvP, nothing changes. You don't do more damage in PvP. Like, you still can't combo the people you couldn't combo before. You can combo the people you could before. And your PvE damage increases by 1%, so you can do like 50 more trash on tank with ruins, boys. We're popping off. It's crazy. Like, why are you spending 400 hours for this? Like, there's no point. And it feels so unrewarding. Like, between a full Tet Debo and a full Pen Debo set, who cares, bro? Nothing changes. Legit.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm curious what Divios, you are like literally the end game of the end game. You're basically, you've beaten the game for all intents and purposes. How do you feel about progression and what needs to be done, or like what is making it unfun for you? If you have suggestions for what could be done, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so before, like back in the day, right, they released Deboreka Necklace. This item was unbelievably hard to get. It was like you had single digit people going for it, and those people going for it were dying constantly, one neck every 10 hours, miserable the whole time, and like months into that, one like a couple people got it, and no one else was even going for it. It was a super rare item. The belt got added. People started getting the necklace. The belt became like an option. You could do it, but that crypt was too much. Crypt got nerfed. Crypt was possible, and these were all fine up till here. But then the earrings get added, and it just the set bonus, because they knew that those earrings for a lot of classes wouldn't be used. They had the set bonus, and it just forces you to need 3 set. Then they had the rings. It forces you to need 5 set. And it removes every other accessory from the game. Where before it's like you had accuracy, you could put on accuracy, you could put on evasion. A lot of people just were wearing like ruins, Volterra for like HP, get a bit of HP. Obviously, HP now is worth even less.
Right.
And it's like there was a million options, and they all felt like pretty impactful. Where now there is no options, and getting the upgrade doesn't really feel that impactful. It's
correct.
Like
That's pretty much,
I don't know how to explain it. It's weird.
100% right. Yeah, I mean,
Because
like,
you don't need Pendebos for anything.
Yeah, I feel like they've
Yeah.
overstepped simplification in the game. They've just oversimplified our gear path, and now it feels unfun.
It's just I mean, I think you put it pretty way. Like early game, it should be impossible to make a mistake. You should be on you should be on training wheels until like you kind of know what you're doing, and then like later on, it's like, oh, I want to get this. I want to go for this. There's little side ideas, and just for like niche items and niche situations.
Right.
Just
now it's just,
I don't know how to put it.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, does
Can I say
anyone
one
else?
thing real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I found it really. In the Korean chat, they're calling Divios 검상혁. That was really funny because Faker's name is 이상혁, and then 검 is basically like BDO, 검은 사막. So in the Korean chat, they're calling 검. They made like a nickname 검상혁, so it's like the first name of Faker in Korean, but they added the BDO on the front. I'm sorry, this is a sidetrack, but it was funny, and I wanted to. Yeah.
Divios, worldwide recognized Faker at this point. GG.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm curious what Yambyam's thoughts on progression are. I assume you've kind of been translating a little bit of what we've been saying here and our thoughts on like the progression system. How do they feel about all of this, and like what are their thoughts on like trying to fix it? Because it does not feel like BDO anymore. You're muted, by the way. He's still muted. Is he cooking?
It was a good run.
It was a good run. We had it, chat. Sorry, we patiently wait. That's a good emote. The waiting emote's crazy, bro. The waiting emote goes so hard, chat. We're chilling. Hold up. Let him cook. It's funny because he's.
Wait, sorry, who are we waiting on? Not me, right?
Sorry. You. We're all looking at the
sorry. I was
chat.
typing. No, sorry. Oh, so can you, wait, what was the question?
Okay, so I want you to ask the Korean chatters and Yambyam what they feel about progression, what we just said there, what their suggestions are, because this does not currently feel like Black Desert Online anymore. It feels like we're stepping away from what the game kind of has potential to be here.
Okay. 얌얌이 제가 아까 쓴 거 있잖아요. 약간 프로그레션, 약간 뉴비 그 템이나 뭐 약간 시작점이랑 엔드게임 콘텐츠 그 변경 약간
네네네
집중이 안 되는 죄송해요. 그 설명드린 거 있잖아요.
네 맞아요.
거기서 이제 한국 유저들이랑 얌비암님의 의견 어떠신지 그 프로그레션이나 약간 게임 초반 중반이랑 후반에 어떻게 그 바뀌었으면 좋을지 제안이
세팅의
있으시면
다양성 그런 거 말하는 거죠?
그거 포함해서 그냥 그거 아닐 수도 있는데 네 그거 얘기하셔도 되고 네.
일단 제 생각은 이제 입문은 쉽게 그리고 깊이 들어갈수록 다양하게 저도 비슷한 생각입니다. 처음에는 쉽게 템 올리고 이제 게임에 좀 익숙해지고 게임이 좀 재밌어졌을 때 그때 이제 다양한 세팅하고 이제 그랬으면 좋겠어요. 저도 검문 사막. 지금은 검문 사막이 회피 이회전 그리고 피감, 피감이랑 이제 적중,
네.
벽혈시 이거 3개밖에 없잖아요. 사실상 세팅이
네.
좀 거기서 좀 다양해졌으면 좋겠다. 나중에 좀 세팅하는 재미도 있고 그래야 조금 더 사람들이 이제 RPG잖아. RPG는 뭐 템 맞추는 것도 맞추는 거지 빌드 맞추는 거 되게 재밌으니까 그런 좀 다양성으로 재미를 좀 줬으면 좋겠어요.
Okay. Yeah, so Yambyam, his first personal statement is that he totally agrees that the start should be much easier than it is right now. To kind of add on to what you said about how you said that a lot of beginners make mistakes, right? He agrees with that. It should be much easier for like setting up your gear or like not having too many options when you're new to the game. And he thinks that right now at end game, there's literally basically realistic only 3 build options. Outside of that, it's not playable. And he thinks, in a lot of games, being able to create your own build, especially when you learn the game more, is always more fun. So he really thinks that there should be more ways to be able to set up your gear end game.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely.
So basically, he's just agreeing with everything that you said and that I translated over. Yeah.
Okay. Before we move on to the next topic, does Yambyam want to ask us stuff? Because we have. I know I'm kind of just banging through stuff. But like, is there stuff that usually he comes with like questions for us? So I'll give him an opportunity here, and then I'll give him another opportunity later as well. But like, is there anything he wants to ask to the rest of the world, essentially?
Yes, sir. 얌얌님, 항상 끝에만 항상 물어봐서 죄송해서 이게 중간 지점쯤에 일단 한국 분들이나 얌얌님이 개인적으로 또 이제 다른 서버나 북미 서버한테 궁금한 점들이나 있는지 확인차 한번 하고 넘어간다 다음 토픽. 네네네. 하고 싶은 말 또는 질문 또는 그냥 서버 상황에 대한 궁금성 뭐 이런 다양한.
초네이션이
초네이션이
좀 다들 궁금해하시더라고요.
네.
아무래도 큰 이슈잖아요. 길드 사실 때 그거 뭐 해체한 이유가 있는지 그런 배경을 좀 여쭤보고 싶어요.
And background. Oh, okay.
Chad, I get the feeling they're talking about
obviously,
Cho Nation.
I even saw it too, but he's curious about the Cho Nation being disbanded, the strongest guild NA.
Yep.
Arguably strongest guild globally.
Yep.
He's saying that a lot of the Koreans are curious. Like, was it like a specific, like, what led to them, like, actually, like, committing to, like, kind of retiring? With his background. Well, I read what
Divios, this
Roots
is all
wrote.
you.
Yeah, should I just? Yeah, Divios.
Well,
검상형님이 대답한대요. Alright, keep going. Sorry. Yep.
Yeah. So for a while now, obviously, like Roots has been having kind of a downturn. He doesn't want to play as much in his shot call, and it's kind of been something that bleeds over between people. But it was always holding on because we always had like hope. But the Heidel ball, honestly, was like that definitely did not help. The Heidel ball felt very weak, and it felt like we had no reason to keep going. Obviously, it still probably would have came at some point, but for example, since that announcement, we have gained one person in the guild. Even though we basically said we're not doing Node Wars, we're not doing Siege, nobody left because nobody cares to do it, really.
So
everyone just
you guys quit over the state of the game currently. PvP doesn't feel fun anymore, and then like the game's progression system doesn't feel good anymore. There's nothing to do, and there's no reason to progress, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty much.
Nothing to do, nothing on the horizon to save it. It just kind of feels a little hopeless, which is like the first time I've ever thought that. Where before it was always like, okay, things are going bad now, but hey, there's stuff coming here. This is going to make things better. And it always does for at least a short while. This is the first time where I'm like, there's nothing coming. I don't know what one thing to do could fix this. It's more complicated than that now. And I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just typing it. Yep.
Yeah. So you can just translate. You just let it rip if you want to. I'm curious what their thoughts are on it.
They got like 90% of it. curious on their thoughts.
I am curious on their thoughts. Yeah. Guys, they think
그럼
we're
한국
crazy.
분들이나 얌비암님의 생각은 어떠세요? 이 약간 북미의 최강 길드 초네이션이 너무 오랫동안 희망을 갖고 있다가 이번에 하이델 연애 뒤로 완전 희망을 놓쳤고 그 길마님께서도 루츠님이 길마시거든요. 초네이션의 길마가 이제 루츠님이신데 너무 지쳐 있었는데 길드원들 위해서 계속 이끌어 주다가 결국엔 이제 지쳐가지고 멤버들 포함 다 지쳐서 그냥 이건 아니다 하고 그냥 결심하고 은퇴해가지고요. 예, 그냥 공감 완전.
그게 한국에도 작년
네.
그 월드 거점전이라고 한국이랑 대옥마 서버 막 아시아 서버, 일본 서버 이렇게 거점전한 대회가 있었어요.
네.
그때 이후로 한국도 약간 초네이션처럼 대형 길드 하나가 해체됐었는데 안타까운 상황이긴 한데 그래도 결국에는
Turn off
한국은
subscriber
어떤
only mode
길드가 여러
immediately.
길드로 파생되고
Turn that off.
프리돼서 다른 길드로 흡수되고 그래서 그랬거든요. 한국은 결국에는 여러 길드로 갈라졌다. 초네이션급 길드가 한국은.
네.
그래서
초네이션급 길드. 네.
당장 이제 한국에서 먼저 일어났던 일로 보면은 크게 좀 걱정되긴 한데 안타깝게 됐네요. 할 말이 없네. 어렵네요.
오케이.
그 질문 한 개 더 해도 될까요? 혹시?
네, 이것만 번역하고 질문 바로 할게요.
네.
내가 얌미한테 보냈지? 죄송해요. 이거 노트 창에서. Yeah. So Yambyam just said he totally understands that feeling because was it last year the World Tournament thing? Korea's best guild, kind of Korea's version of Cho Nation. He described it as like KR's Cho Nation. Also just disbanded after the World Tournament, and it really affected the server as a whole. He feels kind of, and many guilds disbanded after that and got absorbed. A lot of things kind of died out after that happened. Yeah, that's what he said. And he has a question also to add on. 얌얌님 질문이 뭐였죠?
그 이번에 한국 서버에 아침의 나라 2 나오면서 신규 무기 나왔잖아요.
네.
외국 서버 이제 다른 서버는 그 무기에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지 되게 걱정이 많은지 아니면 오히려 기대가 되는지 그런 거 좀 여쭤보고 싶어요.
Okay, so he wants to. He's asking about how with the release of Land of Moonlight 2 plus the new weapons. Thoughts on the new weapon? He's curious about. And Land of Moonlight 2. If other servers are like kind of we're anticipating it or more worried about.
Yeah,
it's just current state of things with Land of
Divios
2 and new weapons.
Yeah, we don't actually have it, so
it's just kind of it doesn't. It's not. It's like the idea's cool, but it's kind of boring. Like it's just end of the day you just get more AP. Yeah. So I guess more AP I don't need for anything.
And it's really easy.
And then
it looks really easy to enhance. Like it looked like some of the Koreans were done in like a day.
Hey, I prefer it like 9 and 10 being like okay, not reasonable but possible versus the Pen Fallen God where it's kind of just nothing and it costs a ton and you get nothing. At least the weapon is like I get one weapon, there's like a chance I get it. I don't know.
Right.
But I still again it feels pointless. It's not gonna I don't need it. It's just kind of cool, I guess.
Right on. Yeah, no,
I'm typing it for you. I know I'm quiet, but
you're good.
They're hearing you through my typing. Yeah.
I don't mind the sovereign weapons, and like Land of the Morning Light 2 looks really boring though because there's no other content with it. It just looks like there's just a world boss and that's it. And then the sovereign weapon looks really basic because everyone was finished with it in like a day. They had it immediately and then they were just done with it. So like the content is basically immediately. And yeah, you'll work on like the later stages for the next few, months to years. But like that's it. Boom, there's your content. You're done. And like Land of the Morning Light, like the story, like I don't know, I'm just pressing R. And then like the rest of it isn't out yet. And so it just all seems it seems really boring. We're not super hyped for it, but like we would like to have it. Because we don't have it. and it feels really bad. How do you guys? I'm scared to ask console. How do you guys feel about the prospect of sovereign weapons in 2030?
I gotta be honest. It doesn't. I don't think anybody's looking forward to it personally. It's just another thing that you have to grind for. It's just Debo weapons. You just running around in circles trying to get this enough crons to enhance it, only for it to fail a million times. And then we're not going to see that content till BDO 3. So at this point, I don't really know. It's not even like I'm not even excited for it. I'm going to have the weapon day one, and I'm literally not excited for it at all.
Yeah,
it's going to be dead on arrival content, honestly, and I don't think it's going to bring players back. That's the biggest problem console has, is that it cannot retain players and it cannot bring players back. That's what PA is suffering with immensely, is communication and being able to inspire people to come back and play the game. They stay away constantly, and it's only gotten worse. I visited all seasonal servers today, and even actually, as I'm talking, they delayed our update, by the way, for today. They delayed our update today, so we're not even getting updates. So they just announced it. So we're not even getting that.
That's about what I expected. South America, Zeus, how do you feel about the prospect of sovereign weapons in Land of the Morning Light Part 2?
It's pretty much the same, and it's just same old, you know. It's just another progression, more grind, a new weapon, more AP, but again, why we gonna do it? And this is happening again. The first day we're gonna have the weapon already, so I don't know. It's just not that exciting, you know. It's something to do. You know, we're gonna have something more to do, but again, not exactly what we wanted, right? So same thing, I guess.
Okay, right on. Quendya?
What I'm thinking about sovereign weapon is simple. It will bring balance in the DR evasion situation of the game. We all know that there's a problem. The problems comes from the classes. Not directly DR is broken or not directly evasion is broken. It comes from the classes that they have free stats, especially the defensive stats like Sack Berserker, like Valkyrie, and some other classes. Like they're having extra DR and having problem. We did many tests, and there's so many Excel sheets for for calculations. That weapon will bring balance in the game, and also for the fragile classes, it will bring some kind of one-shot meta back again. That's why they added the new artifacts. The new artifacts that Korea will get. Probably today they already got it. And I'm hyped for the sovereign weapons, but at the end of the day it will be same again. They said that it will be time gated content. It will be hard to enhance at something. I'm sure that maybe the first day I will be able to get both of them level 8, which is just reducing my hype. And I mean, a little bit positive, mostly negative. I don't know. I'm still confusing about sovereign weapon.
Okay. Jason, I don't think you've said anything.
I kind of agree with everyone else with Zeus and with SwordKings and stuff. I don't think anybody's gonna come back for sovereign weapons that left the game recently. If you left in the past 2 months, you ain't coming back for sovereign weapons, bro. You get the sovereign weapons, you get the artifact a week later, so then your damage to the health ratio, whatever, is gonna be exactly the same as before. The people that have the weapons first are gonna do a bit more damage, and then the people get the artifacts later, and then it's gonna be the same game state as before. So I don't think anything changes. By the way, before you move on to the PvE topic, I would have a question for Yambyam.
Okay, well did you translate that?
Yeah, I was able to. Yeah, I got most of it. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I was curious what Yambyam's thoughts were on our thoughts. But if he doesn't want to share, that's fine.
I'll ask both.
I'll
Jason,
what's your question?
Thoughts on your thoughts plus Jason's question.
Yeah. So Jason, what's the question?
Do they have the top 100 AOS event in KR? And if they do, what do they think about it?
What do they think about AOS, or what do they think about having top 100 AOS?
We have an event for the top 100 players of AOS after the ranked season. Do they have it? And if they do have it, what do they think about it?
오케이. 오케이, 질문 2개로 나눠서 드릴게요, 얌얌님.
네네네.
일단 그 신규 무기, 새로운 무기에 대한 그 의견에 대한 또 의견을 물어봤어요, 브루님이.
음흠.
그거 플러스 이제 방금 챔피언 제이슨 님이 말씀하신 거는 탑 100 유저들의 AOS 이벤트가 있는데 솔라레 이벤트죠. 그렇죠? 네, 솔라레 이벤트 그 탑 랭커들끼리 이제 하는 이벤트인데 한국도 있는지 그게? 그리고 있으면 그거에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시는지?
탑랭커 이벤트라는 게 그 뭐 의상 주고 순위 보상 주고 그거 말씀하는 건가?
그 같은 이벤트인지 모르겠어요. Is the event though? He's asking if the event is involving like you get like pearl item rewards and like costumes and stuff. Is that the event or is that a different?
Yes, that is the event.
That's the same one.
Yes.
맞다네요. 네.
이제 그거에 대해서 어떻게 생각하는지가 질문이죠.
네, 한국도 있는지 그리고 어떻게 생각해야 되는지 그 이벤트에
그
대해서.
의상 이제 칭호랑 의상 보상 있고 그런 순위 보상 있는데 한국은 우리는 없다. 그거랑 다른 거야? 다른
거예요?
네, 다른 거라네.
다른 거예요?
시청자분들만 들어보니까 그냥 순위 보상만 있고 따로 이벤트는 없고 우리는 그것만 있어요. 그 주간 승리 몇 번 하면
그러니까 탑 100명들을 모아서 서로 싸우는 이런 이벤트는 없고 그냥
그런
탑
게
랭커들한테 보상 네, 그런 이벤트가 있다네요. 예. 저도 몰랐어요.
저희는 그냥 순위로만 딱 보상 측정해서 나가고 그런 이벤트 같은 게 아무것도
없다. 없는데 그거에 대한 생각은 어떠세요, 그러면?
있으면 좋겠는데요.
있으면 좋겠다. 오케이, 확인.
그래도 심심한 검은상판인데 그런 거라도 있으면 되게 좋을 것 같아요.
네. 그리고 신규 웨폰에 대해서 어떻게 생각? 그 신규 웨폰에 대한 의견에 대한 의견. 아니면 그냥 신규 웨폰에 대한 의견 주세요, 그냥. 네.
신규 무기.
네네네, 신규 무기.
좀 실망적이다? 이제 하이델벨에서 되게 뭐랄까 순식간에 못 만들고 시간 들여 공들여서 만들어야 된다. 그리고 막 한 번에 막 달리고 독주하고 그런 거는 안 된다. 이런 식으로 얘기했는데 막상 나오고 보니까 단 하루 만에 모든 컨텐츠가 끝나버렸어요. 이제 아침에 나라 메인캐랑 무기가 남았는데 그 컨텐츠의 소요 시간이 단 하루밖에 되지 않았습니다. 이거 되게 너무 실망스러워요. 출시되고
새로운
보니까.
무기 포함?
네.
와우. In one day.
단 하루를 위한 컨텐츠였어요.
와. 그건 한국인들이어서가 아닐까요? 너무 빨리 게임을.
아니 그 강화 재료를 천천히 푼다 그랬는데 그냥 업데이트 다음날 월드보스 나오자마자 그냥 거래소에 넘치기 시작해요. 그 재료가 한정적이라는.
오케이.
그래서 그냥 끝나버렸어요 컨텐츠 자체.
Okay. Okay, so I'll start with the AOS event one and then the new weapon. He said at first he thought there was the event, but it was like there was a little bit of misunderstanding. There is no top 100 AOS event for Korea. They would really much like it, and it sounds cool, is what he had to say. After realizing, after his viewers told him, no, they don't actually have that. The AOS event. It just sounds really fun and they want it. And then about the new weapons, he said they initially kind of advertised the new weapons as it's going to take long to make. It's going to be like content for a while. So there's something to work for. But he described it, he said everything ended in one day, including Land of Moonlight 2. Like the upgrades all came out too fast, like the day of launch.
Yeah.
So like he said that people were able to beat Land of Moonlight 2 and upgrade weapons basically in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So the content wasn't what they promised.
Right.
And like the upgrade mats were even on the markets on the day of release, same day, as in people like were selling it already.
Oh my God. It's just a total disaster. That's exactly what I thought was going to. It's just too easy. It's just, one day, boom, done. You know what I mean? Like
Wait, so just so I understand, Korea is done with Land of the Morning Light 2 already. Like they've basically, it's cooked for already from.
Yeah, I'm looking at what. Let me ask again. I'm doubting my. Hang on. Let me re-ask then. 야면 제가 오해했을까봐 제가 번역을 잘했는지. 그러니까
네네.
아침의 나라 2랑 신규 웨폰이 하루 아침에 그냥
Bro, console's
됐다는
like,
거죠.
wait,
유저들이
what?
그냥 신규 무기 포함.
그죠. 그날 이제 업데이트된 컨텐츠가 하루 만에 소비가 됐다. 완전 끝났다.
할 게 없어졌다는 거죠. 다 끝냈다는 거죠. 유저들이.
없어요.
Okay,
Exactly
yeah.
2
So I
days.
didn't. I was reconfirming, but yes, that's what they meant. It just they were able to get the new weapons, upgrade it, and complete Land and Line 2, basically in one day. I'm sure not everyone did it in one day, but he's saying it was you're able to just do the whole thing in one day,
Oh my god, dude. See, like, this is the problem.
or 2 days, or some people are saying
No,
in the
that's
chat.
a
But yeah,
really bad thing. That's bad. They should not have done that. And they're like, I'm sure that the developer's response will be, don't. Oh well, we haven't released all of it quite yet, right? So we only released the main story and the weapon. But like, bro, it shouldn't be that fast. You shouldn't be done that quickly. Maybe with the main story, sure, but the weapon, it's cooked, man. Everybody was done in 2 days. I don't know. Divios, go ahead.
Yeah, that was one of the things. That was a big thing when they announced it, where they said, "Hey, don't worry.
This is your weapon.
Yes, this has 10 levels. This is gonna be really hard to do, but you won't be able to use just use all your silver in the first day if you have large pockets or you have a lot of silver. Like if you're ready, that was like the main thing they said. They said, oh, you won't be able to progress if you have a lot of silver. And then yeah, you see people. I saw a guy linked the first night someone had an X weapon. I'm like, okay, well never mind, because that's not true.
Like literally night 1. Like,
yep.
Oh god. Yeah, that's really disheartening. But like that's what I thought was gonna happen. We were speculating on the Old Moon podcast a couple weeks ago about it. It's absolutely obnoxious. Okay, so we've talked a lot about like the progression and stuff. I brought LoonyStorm in here to introduce Loony a little bit. He's kind of a PvE Giga Chad Lord. He's probably the best Succession Witch, definitely the best PvE Succession Witch that I'm aware of. No question. And basically all Loony does is he's just like he's a connoisseur of PvE. He just sits there. He's like the definition of a grind lord. And I kind of want to talk about the state of PvE now. Like now that we've talked about progression, we need to talk about what's wrong with PvE. I won't even give my take on it. Loony, I'll let you go first. Loony, what are your thoughts on the current state of PvE? What do you feel like it needs, or do you feel like it's good right now? And we have the introduction of Dekia 2 coming out as well here. So
I feel like it's all going really fast downhill. I am not gonna lie.
Okay, why do you feel that way? I need you to elaborate. You have the floor. Go ahead.
Well, in my humble opinion, the last time we got a real upgrade of a spot was with introduction of Darkseekers. And all the Dekia spots, after they got kind of figured out, are just press one button, wait 20 seconds for respawn, and press one button again. And I don't know, like a lot of people actually prefer that, I guess, because you can just like watch a TV show or something. But if that's your like main enjoyment out of the game, I would prefer something more active. So what I would like to see more is spots like Old Crypt, where if you go unprepared, you legit get your shit kicked in, like instantly. And other spots where you actually need to understand what you're supposed to do and actually execute your class properly. And other part is gear literally doesn't matter in PvE, as well as in PvE, as I gathered from the previous few hours of yapping. You can wear 3 Debos and 305 and go to Tungred Ruins and other quote-unquote high AP spots and be very, very close to, peak clear speed. Which is, for the spots that's supposed to be scaling with AP, that doesn't really do much, you know.
Okay.
Also, 2 more points, and then
go ahead.
I'll let you take the.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I would really want to have actual good boss fights. I know it's probably nigh impossible, but I mean, here goes, you know. if any of you guys raided in WoW in the Mythic raids, I would love to have bosses of a difficulty, something like a mid-tier Mythic boss, which is not too hard, but also will not fall over after single-digit amount of attempts. Because when I was doing the bosses for the first time, all the bosses on C7 took me, I think, 40 elixir repops total to kill them for the first time. So I don't think that should be a thing. Like, first trying, basically. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. And, well, I don't know. I guess that's about it.
Do you want more?
I mean,
do you want more group? Do you feel like you need more group grinding? Do you feel like you want dungeons and raids? Do you want PvE group? Like PvE events? You know, like big world PvE events. You know what I mean? Like, is that something that you would be interested in doing?
I mean, first we can fix the spots and add the proper bosses, and then we can maybe talk about dungeons and stuff. Because I don't feel like. Okay. I don't feel like that's gonna be up to the task. We first have PvP to fix, and then then we already have Dekia 2 on on the leg. So I don't know. It's kind of cooked, man.
Yeah. I'm curious, Zeus. You haven't talked in a while. What do you think would revitalize PvE for you? What PvE content would get you excited? Because clearly we're not very excited about it right now, right?
Yeah, for a long time, I would say. But for me, it would be challenging stuff, I guess when dungeons came out, they passed through a lot of problems. They became something cool to do. We did it, and right now just damage sponges. It's easy to do. The boss fights on Land of the Morning Light, they are just kind of artificial difficulty, it's just more AP, more HP, and that's it. There's no really good mechanic and stuff. For a long time, I believe that PA, they just couldn't do it, they just didn't know how to do it. There is not a single good word boss or a boss that's really epic or something like that in the game. So I kind of believe that this is not the way they can do it. But I saw the last gameplay from Crimson Desert, so I thought, well, there are some people there that can do it. They know how to do it. It's looking good. It's looking cool. We see a lot of Black Desert there, so looks like just people on Black Desert working on Black Desert don't like to do it or don't know how to do it. But for me, it would be something more challenging. The fourth dungeon is just a dream right now. No one's talking about it right now.
Right.
It's they just got forgot. So for me, it would be more challenging stuff. The Altar of Blood, they got it out from the game. There are some promises from the Heido Ball, but well, we just saw that they are not that great, right? On the new bosses are not that great as well. So I would like to see, man, a good change on the word bosses to become something really challenging that people want to go there to face them, to have some kind of reward, a different reward. We can talk about horizontal progression. You're gonna drop something that is not for vertical progression, but something, a new skin, a new effect, a new treasure, I don't know, whatever, but something that makes you go to the boss and face a real challenge there, a raid boss that we don't have it in the game, and I don't know why we don't have it in the game. We have this so much potential with the combat of the game, right? It's just really good combat, and they just don't know how to make it work on PvP, on a challenging PvP. So that's what I'm expecting from a long time ago, just see some challenging PvE on the game, right?
Okay. I'll give console SwordKings. You want to talk briefly on it here? I know that you guys are kind of far behind, but like, what would you guys like to see on console? You have a bit of a different perspective.
Specifically, I think I think the group grind is probably a big focal point for PvE on just that side of the things, because a lot of people here, because Xbox chats, PlayStation chats are a thing, you just invite somebody to a party and you just go and do stuff, right? It's very simple. You don't really need Discord, even though Discord is available on the consoles. You don't necessarily need it, right? You can just invite somebody and go. But this is one of the most lonely MMOs out there to exist. And there's almost no group grind spots for anybody to participate in that's actually decent money. You could go to Turos, you could go to Olin's, and that's about it realistically. And if you need cups, you can go to Imps and whatever, but there's spots like Schultz, for example. Does anybody remember Schultz? Because I don't. It's a group grind spot.
I remember.
And it's just complete. It's such a useless spot. Basilisk Den? Anybody remember that?
Megalol? Yeah, how about Winter Tree Fossils? Any homies? You know, like Mirawalk's Labyrinth? Yeah, like
Waragons? Like, those are things. I don't know how that functioned on PC, but on console, those spots were actually kind of big. Like, Bassies for a while was the best Caphras in the game for us. That was literally the best we could get. It was like 35 to 40 an hour back in the day. So... like, I don't know, to see those spots kind of be useless in PvE, because anybody that ever talks to me in my chat about is like, they want to play with their friends, they want to queue up with their friends, and the same goes for PvP too. People just want to queue up with their friends and do stuff and have a community to play with, be able to, like, what's the point of a 100-man guild if you can't even play with these guys, right? Like, what's the point? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And the grind spots are like 3-mans or 2-mans, which is fine, I guess, for just getting started. There's some 5-mans, like the 5-man Gyfin spot, which, by the way, was popping for a little bit and then died literally 3 months later. Another forgotten spot that nobody does anymore. I do agree that the dungeons and raids need to be brought up more, because that's another thing that's really non-existent on console. There's not a lot of MMOs that do dungeons and raids correctly. Destiny probably being the only one that does it really well, with ESO maybe. And Destiny, I'm pretty sure, just died not that long ago. So I don't even know how long that's going to be a thing. But console is very dry from a PvE standpoint in MMO genres. It's really barren. And BDO is like blowing it every single time. Like, they could run the market and they just constantly fumble the bag every single Tuesday. It's insane.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well said. Well said. See, Quendya, you haven't spoken yet.
Yeah, I agree for the most part of what they said. It's because we need challenging PvE. There's nothing for challenging. Like Loony said, get 3 Dabarekas, get some items, 305, 309, go to the hardest spot in the game, kind of hardest, like, Tundra Greens, and you're done. And the other thing is, like, for the PvP, like, we are talking about PV, but they both related with each other. Like, there is nothing just game is offering you, like, in an uncapped scene, and people just don't want to bother themselves, like, go that much deep. I have all the items, like 6 Pendevos, all accuracy accessories, all swap everything that I have. Yeah, I feel strong at some points, but it takes so much time to build them. But at the end of the day, people fear that there is nothing, and they're right. So we definitely need better PvE contents. Like, we need group contents. In that group contents, PA wants to add Shy in that group contents. In Turos, you're good with Shy, mostly. In Olons, you require Shy. But nobody playing is Shy in this game. Like 0.001% of the game, I don't know. We have like 10, 20 Shy mains in the game. Let us just tag Yeah, like... it's so hard to find a Shy for group contents. If we get group contents in the game, PA will just make Shy is mandatory for them. And if they just make that, let us just tag a 3rd character in the game. So we can just tag a Shy and we can just another character like usual. So we will not have a Shy problem, because I'm 100% sure that Shy will be mandatory. On the other hand, we are talking about boss rates or something overall. We have many bosses in this game, but they are dead. Like, I don't know how many of you just going in my server, people just ignore literally they're just basic Zarka. Like, they're ignoring it. It's because there's nothing. I will just give you some fun thing. Like, you have a higher chance to get crashed while you're changing character instead of just getting a boss weapon box or something. So why should I bother myself for that? I'm sorry, but shit boss content in the game. Like, what am I gonna get if I just go to word bosses? There should be something different. It's an MMORPG game, isn't it? Like bosses, raid things. These are the heart of the game. Your interaction between people, group content. This might be the biggest content in the game. Like word bosses. What is the point of word bosses that exist in the game? Like they added now new word bosses, kind of word bosses in the Land of the Morning Light Part 2. We didn't see it, yes, but it will be pointless again, because like in first few weeks people go there, people farm their the new Blackstone to help you to enhance the sovereign weapon, and after maybe 2 months it will be like the marketplace will be full of Blackstones and done, because there is nothing special in that word bosses. PA is an amazing company to create new things, but they don't know how to keep them alive. They're just pumping contents, but then what? Nothing. Word bosses are sitting they're dead for 4 years. It's so easy to make them alive. I'm not saying that put them like millions, trillions of silver in as a reward in them. Like just make them viable. Just add them like some kind of seal. You know, they're sometimes adding event seals. Even in that place, even seals are outdated. That event comes from 4 years ago or something. They're just not even bothering themselves to update that even seals. They don't even know that, hey, 1 seal for 5 coppers, just put that 5 coppers in some of your pot. I don't care that. Like, we need viable adjustments about PvE, PvP, even in life skill. Like, but I'm sure that 100% sure that they will not listen what we say. They don't even listen Korean community. They listen Korean community when they confused.
Well, then
and
we're all
they do not even
quit.
ask.
That's just how it's gonna go.
Like,
we're all just gonna quit. If they don't listen to this, I'm telling you, the West is not messing around. The West is going to like it's cooked. Especially since we have Throne and Liberty releasing in like a month. Everyone is talking about making a jump over to Throne and Liberty, which is not as good of a game. That game sucks. Okay, and like we'd love to just stay playing Black Desert, but we don't feel that we can because our developers don't want to listen to anything. Like that's just where we're at. Like everyone's gonna try to leave for Throne and Liberty. They're gonna lose millions of dollars because they don't want to listen to their player base. At least in the West. And the West are the people that pay their bills. Again, 70 to 90% of their income comes from regions outside of Korea. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Quendya. Let's see. Oh, Zeus, did you have something?
May I add something about this PvE stuff? I believe that in PvE, even if they don't change anything on the word bosses, make them different with new mechanics and stuff, if they just put something unique on them, and the same goes for the dungeons, like a custom, some cosmetics of any kind, just something unique. You have to do the boss 100 times. I don't know. It's just RNG stuff that will drop with a rare trance. I believe that just this change would make people go to the boss to drop that unique rare item, like a treasure that only drops on that boss. Only drop in. We can do that on each boss. We can have a unique custom for each boss. What is the difficulty to do something like that? It's so easy, and I believe everyone would go to the bosses just to get it, just to have that one thing that I dropped on Zarka, I dropped on whatever boss because I was there and I got lucky. It's just the dungeons are the same thing. You go there to farm. I believe the game has this need to make everything about silver, silver per hour. So why would, after doing dungeons for like 100 times, why do I have to go there? If I just want to get silver, I can just go to a spot. It's much easier. I don't have to gather anyone to do that. And in the end of the day, I would just have some silver, so I can do that on any other spot. It's in my mind, it's just so easy to make them more unique, even if they don't change anything on the mechanics. It's just put really good rewards, something that's horizontal rewards. I believe would be a nice add to the challenges we have right now on the PvE content.
Okay. Yep. All right. So we got that. Divios, do you want to speak on PvE?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I don't really know.
Okay. All right. That's fine. We'll skip over for this. Brobear, is there anything? I assume you've been translating a lot of this. Does Yambyam want to add to the discussion here? Would he like to add to what he thinks in Korea and like what his chat thinks? Would be helpful for PvE. What does Korea think? I would assume that they're not happy with PvE based on what they said before, and like kind of the staleness of the game. So what would they like to see in PvE?
Yeah. So I was translating all the dungeon raids and all the everything you said. Yeah. 얌얌님 이제 그 PvE에 대한 의견, 한국 분들의 의견 그리고 얌얌님이 하는 계속 얌얌님의 의견. PvE를 어떻게 뭐 추가할지 뺄지 변경될 점들?
일단은 지금 제가 느끼는 검은사막 PV는 아무런 방향이 정해지지 않고 방황만 하는 그런 콘텐츠 같아요. 이게 내가 픽업을 해야 되는 이유라던가 목적이라던가 그런 게 하나도 정해진 거 없이 그냥 그 성장 동기가 없는 그런 콘텐츠라 그런 걸 느낄 만한 콘텐츠 예전부터 바라긴 했는데 아직 좀 추가가 됐으면 좋겠어요. 저는 그런 목적성이라도 부여해주게. 그저 한없이 사냥하는 것보다. 그리고 제 개인적으로는 좀 이제 월드보스 아까 말했다시피 월드보스가 되게 의미 없다 그랬잖아요. 다른 분이 그것처럼 월드보스 같은 시간 콘텐츠들을 없애던가 하고 차라리 다른 대규모 콘텐츠 이제 거점전 PVP는 거점전 점령전 장미전쟁 이런 게 있잖아요. 이제 그거 급으로 만든 PV 콘텐츠가 있었으면 좋겠어요. 시간 정해놓고 다 같이 할 수 있는. 예를 들면 칼페온이나 뭐 대도시 같은 거 하나 지정돼서 거기 이제 몬스터가 몰려오는 걸 다 같이 막고 뭐 보스도 잡고 그런 진행 방식이 있는 콘텐츠가 나왔으면 좋겠어요. 저는. 보상도 좀 좋게 하고 보상 너무 구려요.
보상도 구리다. 진짜 놓친 거 없나? 네, 오케이. 제가 근데 하나만 질문할게요. 성장 동기가 무슨 뜻이지? 성장을 알겠는데 프로그레스 동기가
이제 내가 왜 성장해야 하는지 이유.
reason. 네네네네. 성장할 이유. 네, 감사합니다. Okay. So he said he thinks that the way he perceives BDO is that there's just no direction. It feels like there's no objective or reason for progression currently, and they need something to strive for. For example, as an example, he said maybe for like world bosses, which is kind of like time-gated content, perhaps maybe even get rid of that and make something like a big PvE content, kind of like War of the Roses. Like an example, he said, just very loose example, he was talking about something like a Calpheon invasion event, like group content, defend the city, kill mobs, get better rewards. The rewards just suck too much right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, more motivation. Yeah.
Okay.
They need something like more motivation for PvE.
Right on. Yeah, no, completely agree.
Zero direction.
You need more motivation for PvE. There's no motivation to go out and grind right now. Completely agree. And by the way, guys, that's coming from the region that has the new content. I'm just saying it. Okay, like it is what it is. Okay. We also need to talk. So, Jason, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, for PvE, I mean, just to mention, I think the two best grind spots the game, like personally, at least the two best grind spots the game has ever produced in the history of the game, were Upper Gaifen on release and Olun's on release, because it's grind spots that were inherently difficult to, like, there were group spots that were inherently difficult to grind, where people would die on an hourly basis, multiple people even sometimes died on an hourly basis, and rewarded you for being good at the spot and knowing mechanics and having decent gear. So they rewarded you for being a good player, having good gear, were group content, and had stuff to learn and figure out every week. Every single week there was a video coming out on YouTube regarding new Olun's mechanics that increased your trash loot more and more and more and more. The same with Upper Gaifen back then. There was new pulls like every 2, 3, 4 weeks that increase the threshold by the players. And this is personally at least the stuff that I love from the game. It's like, okay, I figure out new mechanics, I get rewarded for learning them, being good, having a good team comp and stuff, etc., etc., etc. This was the best 2 grind spots the game has ever produced to me. And I wanted to add one thing that Quendya mentioned earlier, where like Shy is mandatory for every grind spot. I don't think it's because Perlibus wants Shy to be mandatory for every grind spot. I think it's because Perlibus is inheritably incompetent balancing Shy. Shy is broken in every content in the game that exists. It is not because they want Shy to be part of PvE. It is because they cannot balance this class and it's overtuned everywhere.
Could I add something to this?
Go ahead, Divios.
Alright. So, yeah. One thing I'll say, before Cho died, remember guys, Shy is the PvE class.
Uh-huh.
Cho Nation had 17 Shies of 150 people.
Go off, King. Yes, please translate that. Oh my gosh, so true.
Oh wait. Can you say it again? One more time.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'll turn
it. So Shy was created as the PvE life skill class, and Cho Nation had always between 15 and 17 Shies for PvP, not for PvE.
Yeah. No, and to be clear, every single like uncapped tournament that we have, you have to have a Shy on your team or you lose. Like in like 3v3s. In Node Wars and Siege, you must have Shies or you lose. In AOS, Shy automatically wins against a team that doesn't have a Shy, right? In most cases, or they have a strict advantage. Shy has a serious advantage, and in PvE, Shy is required in all group PvE content. It is way too strong. Go ahead, Loony.
Not all, to be honest. Turos is better with 2 DPS, but it's a lot more comfy with the Shy, yes.
Okay, all right, yeah. All right, yeah. That's why you're here, Loony, is Eva actually. I love you, buddy.
Actually.
Great, I loved it, bro. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, no, he's right. Turos is technically better. That is true. But in most PvE.
For Shy.
Yeah.
For Shy being the PvE class, by the way, I think it was like the last 2, 3, 4 tournaments we've seen from PA where the top 16 teams only had Shies. Like there was not a single non-Shy team in the top 16 in the last how many official PA tournaments? And in community tournaments, it is literally banned. You banned the class. Armin had it allowed in his AOS tournament and said it was a mistake and it will be banned in the next tournament. Every community tournament has Shy literally banned because of his massive imbalance. And Perlibus is the only tournament that doesn't ban it because they can't ban it because they would openly admit that they are not able to balance the class. But you see, look at the rankings and mark yourself which team has a Shy. It's every team. You don't participate without it. If you do, you lose first round.
Yeah, I banned Shy in my tournament, and Perlibus refused to support it because I banned Shy. Like you can tell Korea. I had like a $4,500 prize pool for my tournament. Both Jason and Divios, I believe, were in the tournament. At least Divios was in the tournament, at least for the NA side. It was for NA and EU. And Perlibus wouldn't even support it because I removed Shy because it was just that strong. That it felt like it had to be there. I'm curious what Korea's thoughts on Shy are because they don't really have a whole lot of PvP going on. So I'm curious if they think that Shy is a problem.
Sorry, I'm just finishing up. 오케이. 저희가 샤이로 많이 지금 집중이 되는데요, 내용이. 한국 유저분들이 샤이를 어떻게 보는지 되게 궁금해하고 있어요.
The waiting emote is so good.
안 그래도 이번에 솔라레 시즌 끝나지 않았습니까?
So good.
그래서
네.
한 스트리머 분께서 컨텐츠로 솔라레 랭커 분들 모아서
You
이야기를
guys
한
are
적이 있어요.
looking
토론
at
같은
the
거.
Korean chat
거기에서
when you do
샤이
it.
관련된 주제가
It's
나왔습니다.
perfect.
샤이를 아예 솔라레 못 돌리게 해라. 아니면은 한 팀에 샤이 샤이가 없는 팀, 샤이가 있는 팀 차이 너무 심하다. 이런 PVP에서 샤이 관련된 얘기가 꾸준히 나오고 있어, 한국도. 당장 지금 제가 봐도 샤이 의존도가 너무 높아요, 게임이. 너무 과할 정도로 좋다, 버프가. 한국도 똑같이 샤이가 이슈되고 있어요. 샤이 관련해서 계속 얘기가 나옵니다.
Okay, 네. He said, how since the AOS season just ended, 잠깐만 PvP 스트리머분이라고 하셨나요? 아니 그냥 랭커분이 그
이제 스트리머분이 랭커들을
네.
초대해서 진행하는
랭커들을 초대해서 네. 네. Okay, so right as the AOS season ended, I think he's trying to emphasize that pretty recently a streamer invited all like the rankers or PvPers into like a, I guess, discussion, kind of like this, I'm assuming. And they were talking about PvP in general, and then they naturally had to talk about Shy, and they even said they need to either make Shy unplayable in AOS or nerf them because the Shies are too strong. So Korea, I think the Koreans see it the exact same way. They're saying the Shies are too strong.
Base.
The buffs are too good. Yeah, it's just it's too like it's a necessity to have a Shy on your team for AOS or other PvP content. And they don't like that either. So Korea doesn't like it either, I think. Yeah.
So
for PvP at least, I don't want to misrepresent. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're getting the same feedback from KR that they are from us.
Yeah.
And they still refuse to. That's insane. That is actually crazy. Okay. All right. I do want to pivot. I think to what I think is probably going to be our last topic, which is the subject of damage reduction versus evasion, and the huge rework that went on with that, and the current state of balance in the game as a result, as a direct result of that change. I'm curious what. Let's get Korea's take on it first. What does Korea think are the strongest classes in the game right now after the rework, and do they feel that DR or evasion is weaker? Chat, nobody say anything.
Sorry, for that last part, do you mean like is DR and evasion both getting weaker, or do you mean which is weaker?
No, which is weaker, DR or evasion?
Which is weaker between DR? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you said for current state of changes, strongest class in PvP or PvE,
strongest
or did you
classes in the game, PvE and PvP oriented classes.
Oh, just in the game, okay.
Yeah, but PvP is usually what you talk about when you talk about class balance. So PvP is
usually PvP. Okay. Okay.
You can also.
님부터 질문 들어갈게요. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, so you can tell them that that's a waiting emote in my chat. That means my chat is waiting patiently for the Korean response. That's because they're all asking why they're doing that. That's the waiting emote. Yeah, they're waiting.
So that 지금 보이는 블루님의 채팅창에 이모트 궁금해하실까봐 지금 다들 한국 반응을 되게 기다리는 표현이에요. 그 이모티콘이. 대기 중, 약간 기다리는 중이라는.
오케이.
네, waiting. 네. 그 후원이라는 게 하나. Sorry, I need to explain something about your event too. About the. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
후원이라는 게 파트너시니까 원래 한국도 마찬가지일 것 같은데 이제 검은 사막 파트너면은 보통 이벤트 같은 거 할 때 그 GM들한테 미리 말하면은 보통 후원이 있어요 어느 정도.
네네.
약간 뭐 캐시, 펄트, 맞아요. 근데 블루님이 샤이 밴하고 PVP 토너먼트를 했는데 펄어비스에서 후원을 안 해줬어요. 샤이 밴했다고. 그게 약간 오케이 이제 질문 들어갈게요.
네.
그 현재 그 밸런스 패치 들어오고 나서 한국 분들이 어떤 클래스들이 가장 강 클래스인지, 그리고 파트 2는 이제 DR이 더 센지 아니면 회피율이 더 세냐. 현재. 예.
일단 첫 번째 어떤 클래스 강 클래스인지 이거는 일단 한국 서버 주력 PVP 컨텐츠가 이제 거점전 노드워거든요. 이제 다른 컨텐츠는 사실상 솔라레는 자주 안 열리니까 제외하고 주력 컨텐츠를 거점전으로 놓고 보면은 지금 현재 자이언트, 전승 자이언트, 석세션 자이언트, 그리고 전승 노바, 그리고 전승 커세어.
제가 두 번째, 그러니까 자이언트 뒤로 다시 말씀해 주세요.
자이언트, 노바,
전승 노바, 네.
전승 노바, 그리고 전승 커세어.
네.
지금 요 직업들이 거의 메인 클래스입니다. 한국에서.
오케이.
그리고
네.
두 번째
그리고
뭐 해피나 피감?
해피얼 둘 중에
DR이나
어떤 게 더 강한지. 네, 어떤 게 더 약한지.
현재 다들 분위기로는 피감 DR이 더 좋다 이런 분위기인데 오늘 한국 서버에 신규 유물 그 아티팩트가 나왔거든요. 회피랑 그 DR 유물이. 그래서 당장은 그거에 나옴으로써 또 바뀔 수도 있다고 제 개인적으로 생각하는데 이제 당장 흐름은 DR이 더 좋다입니다. 한국은.
오케이. DR가 더 좋다.
네.
근데 바뀔 수 있다. 새로운 아티팩트 때문에. 오케이. Okay. And the strongest class part was a very short answer, kind of. So he's saying because since AOS, he's mainly looking at PvP, as you said, Blue, since it's mostly PvP.
Yep.
AOS ranked isn't open that often since the seasons are so short. He's gonna explain in terms of Node War. In Korea, the top 3 classes right now are Suck Zerker, Suck Nova, and Suck Corsair. Looking at Node War strictly, those are the top 3 in Korea.
And they buffed them.
Then Suck Zerker, Suck Nova, and Suck Corsair.
Okay, yeah.
And then with the DR versus evasion, overall DR is better, but since the new artifact dropped in KR, Yambyam personally thinks that there is a possibility that evasion, or yeah, it could change, but currently DR is much better, or better, he said, not much better. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I would say that sentiment is pretty mirrored. I don't know about the whole Corsair thing. That might be a red herring because they're kind of an evasion
It's
class.
DR strong.
Oh, it's DR strong? Never mind.
Play it on DR.
Yeah, it's cooked.
You play it on DR.
Never mind, it's cooked.
Because
Okay.
evasion is.
Yeah, it's totally cooked. Okay, so we feel, at least I'm fairly certain, at least North America feels the damage reduction is much. You know what, Divios, why don't you talk on it? You're much more edgy. I'm gonna let you talk on NA's behalf.
So since the special evasion since the special evasion changed, evasion has felt okay if you're absolutely hard cap on a really good evasion class. If you are not that, then it's absolutely cooked. But if you are that, there is like a use for it. The new artifacts are going to help it, probably make it pretty damn good. But yeah, I mean, let's put it this way: if you're thinking of going to evasion, it's like you have everything in the game. Your class scales incredibly with it, and it's still like it's an option. It's good. It's not necessarily like always better and always worse. It's just kind of like there's a use there. The main thing was before special evasion, you needed a lot of AP. You need a lot more AP than now. You can get away with lower damage since special evasion got removed. So it works. Still not good. Not amazing though.
Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, he can sum it up better than I can. I'm not gonna. Jason, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, from what I know, at least the past weeks or like months since the change, evasion is literally played by like 2, 3, 4 classes. Maybe the rest all goes DR. Even classes that were inherently going evasion in the past, even they swapped to like DR for a lot of it. Funny enough, I don't know if it's publicly known, but the missing indicator function is currently bugged, by the way, because even if you get a miss, you still hit 10%, so you will never see misses even though you miss. So to know if you need more accuracy, you just need to test it, because the missing indicator does not work anymore since they changed evasion hits to still hit 10% of the damage.
Yeah, let Brobear translate that specifically because like that's like giga important.
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, go ahead.
The missing indicator in the game. There's an indicator that you can turn on that if you miss on an enemy, you get an indicator that says like miss. It does not work since the change because even if you miss, you still do damage. So you don't see the indicator anymore. So you have to test if you need more accuracy.
Oh, wait, that's huge.
Yeah, you can't tell if you're missing.
You can't tell if you need more. Okay. Actually, I'm just gonna say this part. Sorry.
Yeah, please. No, that's why we're paused.
얌얌님 그 현재 한국도 알고 계신지 이미 알고 계신지 모르지만 그 미스가 뜰 때 있잖아요. 원래는 그 딜이 안 들어가는. 근데 그 인디케이터가 안 보이는 게 너무 큰 문제다. 왜냐면 이제 지금은 따지고 보면 이제 모든 게 딜은 들어가잖아요. 미스여도 어느 정도 딜은 들어가니까. 그래서 적중률이 더 필요한지 안 필요한지 계산하기가 너무 어려워졌다고.
아,
accuracy가 필요한지 안 필요한지 모르겠다고. 미스 그 D표기 그게 안 뜨니까. 예.
저도 동감합니다. 그
알고 계셨어요?
다섯 패치 되고 이게
야.
회피가 뜨는데 회피는 뜨지만 딜은 들어가는데 이게 얼마나 깎여서 들어가는지 정확히 모르기도 하고 심지어
예.
HP 터지면은 미스가 아예 안 보이는 그런 것도 있거든요 가끔. 그것 때문에 조금 혼란스럽긴 해요. 그래서 데미지 표기 안 하나요? 바로 미스. 데미지 표기 같은 거 해주면 좀 좋겠는데
네.
안 해준 게 좀 답답하네요 저도.
아 이거 좋아요. 한국 분들 보는. 예. So he basically just reiterated what you guys said and what I translated over to him in Korean, which is good for his VODs too, I guess. Yeah, and this VOD. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just said the exact same thing and agrees. Yeah.
Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, all right. Jason, sorry, you can go ahead now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that
Yeah, I think
this
you
is
got
like
it, yeah.
you just play DR and like.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for strongest classes, I mean,
ZeusGhostz. Yeah.
and Sakura is also super strong. And why did they buff Ninja and Striker? I mean, it's mostly AOS. Like, I mean, Striker's not out of set of AOS. Ninja is like completely unbalanced now for any AOS content ever. I've seen clips where Armin, like, bro, there was 2 people Ving with 20% HP, and Armin just called out they are dead and they died in V from like what? How much bleeding damage is it? 2,800 bleeding damage or some shit? What is that? Can you ask Korea what happened with the bleeding shit on Ninja?
It makes sense in a vacuum where AOS is closed and never coming back. Where like it's like, okay, yeah, 550 health pots doing 800 damage. Okay, it's not that bad. But when you're healing 200 and it's dying you for 900, and it's just there is no living ever. And yeah. And then Striker they basically they ruined the entire flow and fun of the class and then gave him haha funny screen wide stun that hits the whole screen. It's like, why? I don't know. But it's really not fun, but also got stupid at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to keep up with it. All right, good. Loony, I don't know what you messaged me, but you want to speak on this?
Yeah, I sadly need to bow out early because it's 9 a.m. where I am and I haven't slept yet.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Well, thanks for coming in, Loony.
Yeah,
Thanks
for having me.
Thank you.
I'll see you around.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm curious on console.
So Yambyam.
Go ahead. Go. No, go.
Yeah, he wanted me to translate something for you guys.
Yeah.
He's saying like currently, damage testing is just ridiculously annoying and hard. If you want to damage test, you have to ask a guildmate to come and try on all these like different gear sets so that you can try to gauge your own damage, and that's the only realistic way to actually properly test your own damage and accuracy. And he thinks it's funny that that's kind of the only reasonable efficient way to calculate damage.
I completely
without a guildmate
agree.
that has several. I think he's trying to say without a guildmate that's going to be switching off his gear so they can test damage. You just can't test damage.
Yeah, it's kind of miserable. Plus the global labs just don't work. So like nobody's motivated to play on global labs because the damage doesn't work there. Really annoying. Okay, so strongest classes in the game and what you think is strong, DR or Evasion, ZeusGhostz.
Oh, okay. I was talking to some people right now about it because I'm kind of distant from the game in this moment, and they said pretty much the same as the strong classes: ZeusGhostz Succession, Nova Succession, Corsair Succession as well. And for DR and Evasion, DR is pretty much what we got right now. And I say most of the cases, Evasion is not a thing right now.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, console. You have a much different game than we did. Did you guys get the rework?
Yeah, we got the rework.
Okay.
We still don't have AOS, so I think our opinion might be a little, or meta might be different on the classes that are popular because we don't have the 3v3, we don't have Guild League, things like that. So
Okay,
most
so
of the
without all
meta
that.
is done. without all that, it's like it's still like ZeusGhostz a big one. Striker's now even more of a big one because they can just dive into a ball of 30 people and just walk away. Super great for disrupting in large scale. And then you just have your range just fire from a far wall. Everybody's just getting CC'd. I can dive into a group of like 30 people and barely lose 20% HP, and then my range is just firing in, peeling and shooting into the ball and just killing people for free while the tanks are just being tanks. It's really weird and strange. And for just open world, it's really just a lot of tank classes. That's all it is. Anything that can withstand damage and survive, that is the meta. That is everything that we have currently. That's all it is.
Gotcha. Yeah, so very similar to kind of what we've got going on. Quendya, I don't believe I've asked you yet. What are your strongest classes?
Yeah.
DR evasion, what do you think?
Right now, after the special evasion change, like you feel strong if your class is viable to play evasion, then evasion is good. And like Berserker, like Valkyrie, like free DR, like they're giving free cadres to these type of classes, then DR feels very strong on them. But overall, what I liked about these changes, evasion, it was before it's RNG dependent. Now it is not RNG dependent. It's because it is working like damage reduction. And the correlation between your accuracy and the evasion of your opponents, there's some kind of calculations, and it decided how much damage it will reduce because of the evasion of the opponents. Then the damage reduction is just coming in. And on the other hand, like special evasion was also another RNG thing in the game, and it was affecting a lot. I'm really happy that they removed the entire RNG things. Hopefully they will remove the resist too, or they will make them more viable. Like, I'm happy about them. What I see after the changes, like we are doing tons of tests, especially right now we have Arnav Arsha. We are doing tons of tests. Which build can be good? What AP can shred that DR or something like that? What we see, like after all the tests, they adjust every single stats according to sovereign weapons. So until we get the sovereign weapons, we will not have enough damage. That's why people call it evasion is dead. Evasion is not dead. I did tons of tests and evasion working so straight. Amazing. DR is working so nice. The problem is, if you want to choose to be like an evasion, you're not being like that much strong because you need sovereign weapons. Like 2 days ago, Coyote and Brony was fighting. Coyote was trying to kill the Brony was trying to kill the Coyote, and he couldn't just one combo it. It's because not enough AP to shred that DR. But when he gets that Z buff or E buff, 20 AP or 30 AP from that, the opponent is just melt. Both hard cap players, the conditions are same. So what we actually need is sovereign weapon, because when we get new AP caps, new sovereign weapons, the passive APs in it or everything, we will get around 25 to 30 AP and 2% critical damage and 4% down attack. So it will just give balance. And also it will just, for some fragile classes, it will just bring some one-shot meta is back for them. So they will bring that the new artifacts. The problem is there are classes that they can benefit being tanky. Berserker, Striker, like even Musa feels tanky. Like those type of classes, we need to readjust them. They remain part of the game. If you want to be tanky, you lose damage and you feel it. If you want to hit your opponents, even if your opponent has low AP, you're just being you're being tanky, you're losing damage. If you want damage, you're not being tanky, and low AP players can kill you. The balance right there is amazing. We saw it after like hundreds of hours of tests. But the problem is some classes, they have free stats and it's causing an issue. That's what we say. Like, I like the other way changes overall.
Okay. Jason, I'm curious.
I will have to hit this up.
In your professional opinion, do you think that Awakening Valkyrie is overpowered?
No, I had to hold myself back when Quendya called Awakening Valkyrie strong for PvP right now. Because I will be honest here, the rank 1 guild on Europe I think has 0 Valkyries left. The rank 2 guild on Europe has 1 Valkyrie left. There is no more Valkyries. The entire Valkyrie Discord re-rolled off. It is an absolute tragedy of a class currently. You
Why
just
do you
don't
say
play
that?
it. You play Corsair because it's just better.
Is it because they messed up the cancels? You should talk about that.
I mean, okay. So the cancels being bugged is annoying, but not even the worst part. It's the big part that killed the class. Like, you could still play it for being a heal bot even with the cancels being bugged. The big part was you were down to being a heal bot, and they removed that part. Like, the identity of the class was being a heal bot. They lowered the heals by over 70% in total. So the Succession Berserker passive heals more than
Are we
the
talking
entire
about Valk right now? So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The Succession Berserker passive heal from the Beast form heals more than the entire Awakening Valkyrie kit combined used on cooldown. So if you want to be a heal bot, you just play Succession Corsair, which is just has better heals, but also like better vacuum and everything else, right? Like there was like probably 15 to 20 Valkyries in the top alliances. They all rerolled. There is one left, maybe, if even.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to accept it. I'm sorry. Like, the class is not strong. It's dead.
Yeah, I'll say the thing is, like, the heals weren't really the problem. It was mainly the SA buff. Like, I do think, like, if they want to keep the SA buff, they have to increase the cooldown of that skill, but they didn't need to also destroy the other two as well, I guess. like it's like, okay.
Find it enough on the SA heal. That would have been perfectly fine.
Yeah, like if the SA heal was the only one that happened to, it'd probably be fine. But yeah, it's like your purification heal is the same as a health pot. And the other one's a 2-minute cooldown.
Oh, you know it's bad when people swap off the bottom here.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
So yeah, Yambyam and the Koreans are some questions for console. For SwordKings, I guess. They were just very curious, like how different the balancing is, and like what were the strongest classes for console again, and like would they be like how does it compare to PC and stuff like that? Like I think there's just general questions like they're asking about that. But I guess that's like a big rabbit hole to discuss. Like
give it to him straight. Give it to him straight.
Maybe a TLDR. Yeah, give it to him straight.
The TLDR, it's pretty much the meta is based in large scale because we don't have AOS and we don't have Guild League or any of that stuff. So it's literally just large scale and open world. That's all we have in terms of PvP. And I guess if you want to count RBF, which nobody really does on here, we don't even have Valencia RBF. So it's just regular Castle Ruins all day. And the meta essentially is just anything that's tanky. Zerker, Striker, anything that can withstand a ton of damage and survivability. That's the biggest meta here currently. If you're tanky, you're most likely going to feel really comfortable in the console meta. As far as how does it compare to PC, from the performance standpoint, I mean, it's obviously worse in every aspect. Lag, server desync is off the chart. It crashes. PlayStation is oddly enough the worst out of the consoles, and that's not even me trying to do like console wars. PlayStation is objectively worse than Xbox. It has the most crashes, it has the most lag, it has the most desync. And even when I went to an IRL event that when I first met Jae Kim, it was literally, he told me that PlayStation was the reason that we do not have next gen port. I spoke to him and his translator, and he straight up told me that PlayStation is the biggest reason that we have a lot of the issues that we have. And I don't know where to go with that because it hasn't been addressed in a long time. But yeah, it's really bad. It's really bad. We're missing 50% of the game. We just got the winter region and the content. The way he spoke about his content being dead in 24 hours. That is exactly what happened to the winter region for us. We got it. We waited 3 years for it, and it died instantly. It was everybody got their flame in one single day, got their embers done in like 2 to 3 days. Like it was over in like 48 to 72 hours.
The Koreans are all laughing at him.
That's all
we got. The Koreans are all laughing at him.
AFK's the game again.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I typed most of it. Especially that was interesting about you heard it straight from Jae part. The PlayStation was the reason no part. Yeah.
It's tough. It was tough.
It's rough out there, bro.
It is tough. Me and Guido, we walked up to him. He's sitting there holding a Corona in his hand, drinking a beer with his translator, and then he's just telling us like, "Yeah, PlayStation. That's why you guys don't have next gen."
Stop buying PlayStations. Like that's where we're at. Like, are there any changes that they could give console like imminently that you feel would improve the game? Oh, yo, you should. Do you think that they should drop the old gen of console when they port to the next gen? You should talk about that.
A lot of people think that is the way to move forward. I sort of agree because I think at this time frame, most people have a Series X or at least in Series S at the minimum. And then the extra new gen consoles are all sitting on the market. You can get them. They're not scalped either anymore. They're available. I mean, and it's tough to just be like, yeah, drop the console before. It's really rough. It's hard to just say that and swallow that kind of pill. But like, I feel like it kind of has to be done too, because that could be potentially the reason also why we don't have new content coming in, because the old gen consoles may not be able to handle the regions appropriately. To this day, we still don't know why we got the winter region so late, but we got the land of the morning light so early, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. And it makes me wonder if the old gen consoles hold back the next gen and just dropping content because they're trying to optimize the game perhaps for the old gen, which it feels like that's what they're trying to do, which makes it very difficult to just get content out as fast as possible. Not only that too, but the CMs have no communication. They've been radio silence for about 1.5 years now. So, and now we lost Durgif, so he was our only point of contact, and now we don't have that either.
Console fighting. Yeah, so you can probably see it on Blue Stream too, but all the Koreans are saying hang in there, console players. That transition is kind of off. Well, cheer up makes sense, but in this context, it more means hang in there. Yeah.
I appreciate the KR players. That feels really good. For the first time, I think that's the only positive thing I've ever heard from a PC player for such a long time.
You still don't have any rights. Don't get excited.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I'll give him. I'll let him have a moment. Oh God. Okay, so I do feel that we should talk about life skilling a little bit. We've talked about every other aspect of the game. I personally feel the state of life skilling is okay. I'm not sure. The biggest thing that I would add to life skilling and the biggest quality of update that life skilling truly needs is we need the ability. They added the ability to put tools on every character, like on a gear wheel, so that all characters could use the tools. We want to expand that so that you can put all your chest pieces and all your accessories in there too. And then all your players just have all that stuff all the time, so you don't have to constantly move your manos around between players. That's my biggest problem as a console, or I mean a console. As a life skiller, I think that would be the biggest quality of life change that I think that life skillers probably would like. I don't think that the rest of you do a whole lot of life skilling, so Brobear, I can just go ahead and let you translate that.
Can you say that one more time? Because I was asking what life skilling was in Korean to Yambyam. Sorry. Could you reiterate one more time?
So
and I'll write it up?
They added this ability to change your basically you can equip your Manos tools on every character. They have it on every single character now. But it's only the tools. We want that ability for all of our life skilling equipment. So like our chest pieces, our accessories, etc. Because it's very frustrating to have to move those between characters. Because like you forget that they're equipped on another character, then you have to go take them off and move them over, and then like it's extremely frustrating. So yeah, Matchlocks 2 would be absolutely incredible. Like that quality of life change, I think would help life skillers tremendously, and I think that's what the update they were looking for. But we kind of got like a half-ass version of that with the tools.
Gotcha.
You can talk, bro. I'll just give you the floor.
Oh, I just finished typing. Damn, I forgot. Yeah, it was quiet. I could have just said it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I typed it out so they can all read it.
The waiting.
See it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the other life skillers like do any of the rest. I don't think the rest of you guys life skill very often. I'm like the only guy that life skills in here that has like 500 billion in life skilling equipment. I would say that, and I think that life skills overall, either they need to buff like the mastery gap, or they need to make life skilling actually make a decent amount of money again, because it doesn't really feel like, it feels really stale right now. It feels like hunting is really the only life skill that people can do and actually make a reasonable amount of money. Well, we're not asking it for it to make as much money as PvE content like grinding. It should make more than it does right now, which is only a few 100 million silver an hour. Also, trading is just make trading land bartering. I'm just going to be honest. Like land bartering, it's just super simple. That way, and you can make a bunch of different wagons too. That way we can build different wagons and go on different paths and stuff. And then we can use wagons for different things, and different trade goods and whatnot, and trade for different merchant guilds. Land bartering would be fine with me. I don't know how the rest of the community feels about it, but like we haven't heard anything about trading in a long time. And I'm curious if Yambyam has any thoughts on like updating life skilling stuff, or Korea does.
Yeah. 한국 유저분들이랑 야비야비한테 이제 생활 스킬이나에 대한 의견이 있으신지? 다른 분들은 다 생활 스킬을 잘 안 하는 것 같아서 대답이 없으신데. 네.
저도
딱히
한양밖에 안 해서 잘 모르는 시청자분들 그 채팅으로 물어봤거든요.
네.
그 채팅 말하는
있었어요?
게 다들
똑같네.
다 비슷해요.
네.
어디서부터 손대야 될지 모르겠다. 그냥 다 죽었다.
모르겠다.
제일 중요한 거 수익이 안 나는 것도 큰데
네.
그냥 죽어 있다 생활 전체가.
네. So yeah, Yambyam also. 네.
도인 50 이후로 뭐라도 내달라, 막 숙련도 올릴 이유가 없다, 이런 게 올라오네요. 계속.
숙련도 올릴 이유가 없다. 숙련도가 profession. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so Yambyam also doesn't really do life skilling, so he has his chat. And most of the chat also is just kind of like life skilling kind of dead, especially after like you can't really profit from it anymore after the changes. So they kind of killed life skilling is kind of the view of it. But then there were a couple of people saying that there's just no reason to progress life skilling anymore.
Okay, yeah, no, that's what we feel like too.
Yeah.
Like there's just no reason to do that. And so the only thing I can think of is the quality of life update would be incredibly nice. To be able to put all of our stuff on the characters. Okay, I will ask, does anyone else, before I ask Korea, does anyone else have anything they want to talk about on the UN podcast here? Any grievances you wanna speak about?
Yeah.
Jason, I was gonna say you can. I would hold yours until after Korea goes, if that's the thing.
No,
Okay.
Another topic. Don't worry.
Should I ask Yambyam first or?
Hold on, Jason's gonna go first, and then we'll ask Yambyam.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. I would like to say that the last week's game state, or in general, the Arena of Solar season, from a gameplay perspective of how many bugs there were this season, was an embarrassing display of game service, I would admit, to be honest. Like, the last week was a borderline unplayable game state where 99% of the people in the top 100 didn't even play because they knew they would lose Elo because the game was so bugged, with T-posing going around, your camera bugging out and stuff like that. And to me personally, like, this is not me being salty because I made it in the top 100 before anyone goes like, oh, he's just salty, he didn't make it to the event. I did. Still not gonna participate. However, I personally would say no competitive game out there would have finalized the rankings in a game state that was this bad, because it was an unplayable game mode for the last week of the ranked system, and they finalized rankings after an embarrassing display of game for a full week.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I would translate that to Yambyam, and then I would ask Yambyam if he has any things that he would like to talk about before we kind of go into closing thoughts here.
완전 간략히 외우겠습니다, 여러분. 집중이 떨어져요. 마지막 한마디 있으신가요?
저는
네, 질문이나. 네.
좀 질문이라기보다 혹시라도 이걸 펄어비스가 보고 있지 않을까 해서 하고 싶은 말이 있는데
네.
제발 뭐라도 해주면 안 될까요, 펄어비스님들? 한국은 지금 이 디플레이션 때문에 다들 걱정이에요. 이게 긍정적인 현상이 아니다 보니까 다들 이것 때문에 걱정하고 있는데 아무것도 안 하고 있는 지금 펄어비스가 너무 불안해. 게임 자체가 너무 불안합니다. 다들 지금 불안에 떨고 있어요. 유저들이 이대로 가는 게 맞는지, 이 상태가 유지되는 게 맞는지 제발 좀 뭐라도 제스처라도 보여줬으면 좋겠어요. 지금 오늘 들어보니까 한국만 이런 것도 아닌 것 같은데
네.
오늘 이 이벤 하고 난 다음에 제스처가 있으면 좋겠네. 그리고 연금석 개편 좀 해주세요. 왜 안 해준지 모르겠네.
연금섭이 뭐였죠?
그 벨의 심장처럼 거기에 끼는 건데 이제 배신 말고 다른 아이템 있잖아요.
아, 네네네네. 그거 연금석 추가해달라는 거죠?
개편.
개편?
좀 쉽게 바꿔달라.
네. Okay. Okay, so his ending comments were, because he has a feeling that PA might watch this, as always. He's always feeling that way. He's assuming there's a chance that PA will see this. He's asking if they could please do something. One of the big concerns in KR servers right now is the deflation of the marketplace, and PA is doing nothing about it. So the players are very concerned and worried about the game, the current state. I think it's not like, oh, we're always certain games suck. It's like, I think he's trying to convey like a sincere concern about the game.
Yeah.
And he also said, I forgot the item slot for Velshard and stuff. I haven't played the game in weeks, so I forgot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The end game the end game alchemy stone. The alchemy stone system is
alchemy stones. There you go. Yeah.
Horrible. Is horrible. You spend more time in the alchemy stone window as a player that's trying to build honestly Divios knows the most about it. You spend so much time in that alchemy stone window. It's so backwards. It's so bad. It feels horrible to enhance. It's extremely difficult. The UI is outdated. Like the skipping function is, marginally helpful, but you're constantly gassing it up and then trying to upgrade it, and then it downgrades, and then you have to do it again over and over and over and over again. You're constantly transferring materials and upgrading the alchemy stone. It's all your time. It's a full-time job trying to upgrade that alchemy stone. Divios, why don't you talk about it? Because you made the thing, right? Like,
so when I made it, Resplendent's out on the market for 800 mil. So I just bought 20 Resplendents and tapped and got it. But the thing is, it's not even just time. Not only does it take hundreds of hours if you're going to make it yourself like that, but it's not like there's the mats don't exist. Like if one person decides to go for Splendid, the entire market would be empty on all ingots, including even if that's assuming the person doesn't care how much it costs. They just want to buy out everything to tap. The market would be empty for like 2 weeks for one person doing it, or like 2 to 3 weeks for one guy decide to do that. It's also, it's a dumb thing. I wish they just, to be honest, I wish they kind of validated the stone at this point. It feels like 99%. There's obviously a rare, some people make them. 99% of them are from boxes, or they're like 3, 4, 5 years old, and they're made when you could just buy Resplendents. So if anyone who has them, vast majority just got either obscenely lucky from an order or got it years and years ago. It's just like an old ass item that's not really possible now.
Yeah. To add in how annoying it is, I know people that had hardcap gear except for the alchemy stone, and at that point, right, like you have invested a lot of time into this game, they only macroed the mouse movement of upgrading alchemy stones because they were so pissed off with it, and they got permanently banned for it. So they lost full hardcap accounts because the only thing they missed out was alchemy stones, and they could not be asked after grinding for 40,000 hours in circles. They could not be asked to upgrade an alchemy stone, and they macroed it and they got banned, which rightfully deserved. They got banned. It's against the US, right? But you need to understand this is people that spend thousands of hours and thousands of dollars and 10,000 of hours in your game for 7 years plus, and they literally get banned over one item because it's the only item they're missing. And this is how bad it is that they risk their entire account for this.
Yeah, and we also agree that the entire market is being completely deflated. Like no accessories have any value, and this goes back to everything. You just build Debos. You just, no matter what, you just build Deboracus for everything. So Crescent rings, Ogre rings, Bassy belts, everything. It's just overwhelmed on the market. Everything's at basically min price, and it's all destroyed because the developers have chosen to go in a direction with their end game content where there's only one set of accessories that are really viable, and so it's completely destroyed the entire marketplace for them. Even Deboracas now are crashing in North America, at least in NA. I don't know how it is for EU. I would assume they're probably similar. Yeah, because they added them.
Pens are 40 bill, and pens are also starting to sit, I believe.
Yeah, so they're starting to tank pretty hard across the board. So like the whole marketplace is in complete free fall, and the developers haven't said a word about it. Like, what are we doing? I'll let you translate it. You can talk.
They haven't said a word about anything, really.
Yeah. We haven't heard a word from the developers about a single thing that is wrong with the game. Not any aspect, nothing. As far as we are concerned, they're content with the aspect of the game right now, and they're very happy with the direction. But none of their players worldwide are happy with the direction of the game on any of the fronts that are currently in the game.
Can I
past 2 to 3 months were, oh, 1 second. The past 2 to 3 months were probably the loudest screams I've ever heard in 8 years of playing this game, and there has been not a single comment made by part of this.
Completely agree.
Yeah. On NA, there is currently 5 Pendebos at min price.
What's the min price?
How many? Wait,
because in Korea,
what is it?
5.
It's 250. It's 250 right now. Yeah.
So apparently in Korea, pen. After the new weapon got released, Debos fell down to 180 bill.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Earrings are 160 bill.
Pen Debos are cheaper than Lunar Next like 8 months ago.
Yeah, or like Pendisto, right? Like 1.5 years ago or 1 year ago, you could sell a Pendisto, and now you buy a Pendebo. Yep.
What the?
Oh my god, bro.
And oh my god. Oh my god. I understand why it's crashing in KR too, just because everyone wants the weapon, so everyone's selling their gear, their extra stuff to buy crons and but like holy crap. It was already bad, and even the last couple things remaining are also dying too. That's wild.
Yeah. So to be exact, the earring is 168 bill, necklace is 180 bill, pen Debo.
God.
And rings are now following suit in dropping.
Oh god.
Oh. Pen Debo, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. At this rate, I'm going to be able to sell my life skilling gear and buy full Pendebo. Grind over. And honestly, we're doing it. I don't want to grind it anymore.
Tell them to sell their Devos fast before it drops.
They're all telling us to sell our demos.
Oh, so it's 10 Devos before they drop like here.
Oh my god.
That's so
I didn't know it was this bad.
This market is holding up better than all the regions.
I stopped a few weeks ago. I didn't know.
It's pretty bad.
It was just bad.
I'm not really a doomer.
In a few weeks, but
not really a doomer. But I've never felt such brutal silence in my entire life. They're not listening to anyone, and like everyone's talking about quitting. Guilds are quitting the game en masse. I've never seen so many players just up and leave the game. Players that have been playing for 6 or 7 years, that have stayed with it through thick and thin. They've never left. You know what I mean? No matter how bad it's gotten, because they've had faith that it's getting better. They're gone. Or they're all just in a waiting room for Throne and Liberty. Or they're like moving to other games, because Throne and Liberty isn't the savior. But like they're going to go play it for a little while at least, and then they'll go play something else. Because like we're not getting any feedback on anything. It's just radio silence across the board. And they don't want to acknowledge anything but Korea when they do speak up. That's the biggest problem. Like they don't want to say, like they only want to, when they do actually say something, They only want to acknowledge anything that Korea says. And like the rest of us are the majority of their market cap. We feel completely ignored and we're getting ready to quit the game. Like literally quit. Like I ran a poll earlier and over 95% of people are talking about like, man, we're really unhappy with the game and either are thinking about quitting or are very, very unhappy with the game state as it is. Like this is an overwhelming aspect of the player base. Go ahead, Brobear.
Yeah.
Or Divios, I'm sorry.
Yeah, one sign to me that actually freaked me out is class. Like I've seen like 5 or 6 class discords basically saying they're not updating anything, they're closing kind of.
Oh
and
my god!
That has never in the history of the
happened.
game ever. Like there's been like there's been like single ones that have happened to like at a time, but it's never been more than one.
Correct.
I've seen, and in the last like 2 or 3 months, I've heard of like 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
They're all just like
then somebody else will just take over, right?
Yeah,
It was
someone else just take it.
Our leadership is stopping, and somebody else takes over and keeps going with it, right? But like right now, like half the Discord is like nobody's willing to take over because all of the like hardcore dedicated players are just leaving, and it's like nobody's willing to spend time anymore, like updating a Discord or something for new players because no new players, right?
Brobear, can you translate that? You can talk. Yeah, just tell them about the class Discords and stuff, and like how we feel about the state of the game here.
Oh, right before that, Yambyam. So I was focused on translating something for Yambyam.
You're good.
He asked me to translate to you guys. With the current crappy state of the game, they believe that J Kim is probably after Hide a Ball. He's still vacationing in Europe to this day. He wanted me to just relay that to you guys. All right, sorry. What did you want me to translate? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of class Discords that are
he's saying
which has never happened before.
Yeah. They're saying J Kim is still on vacation in Europe since Hide a Ball. Yeah.
Oh, I love Koreans. Oh god. It's true. We're talking about so Brobear, we want you to tell them about how we feel about the state of the end game here, but also very importantly, the class Discords closing down. We have like 4 or 5 class Discords just closing their doors and no one's picking it up. So like the community is just everyone's just closing it up and no one's picking it up anymore. Like that's it. And we don't hear, you don't see class Discords closing their doors like that. You just don't see that. Like, and that's extremely alarming, right? So like I'd love you to translate.
Yeah. I'll emphasize the end game side. I'm gonna emphasize that. I don't know how it is in Korea though, so I'm gonna emphasize that class Discords, like Discords are like group talks are big in the West, so it's a big deal that they're closing.
It's like invent for us.
얌비암님이랑 한국 시청자분들한테 표현하고 싶은 거는 한국은 그런지 모르는데 서부 특히 북미에서는 클래스 디스코드 그룹들이 약간 되게 크거든요. 되게 중요하고 게임 할 때는 디코가 되게 중요해요. 디코방들 있잖아요. 몇백 명, 몇천 명 들어가 있는. 근데 그게 이제 처음으로 여러 검은 사막 클래스 디코방들이 지금 완전 다 죽었다고. 예. 그래서 그것도 되게 안 좋은. 예. 근데 제가 중간에 껴서 이거 다 들어보니까 검은 사막 이렇게 심각하게
지금 좀 많이
하락 중인지는 몰랐어요. 제가 한 6주 됐나? 안 한지? 심하네 이번에.
방금 그 클래스 디코 관련해서 한국은 이제 인벤이라는 사이트에 직업 게시판이 있어요. 각 클래스별. 근데 한국은 이제 비주류 직업들은 일주일에 글 하나 올라오면 많이 올라올 정도 죽은 직업에 이미 예전부터 죽어 있었습니다. 그리고 한국에는 따로 그렇게 그 외에 그룹 같은 건 없어요. 클래스 그룹 같은 거.
그죠. 한국은 원래 다 인벤으로 하잖아요. 저희는. 맞아요. 저도 한국에 있을 때
인벤마저도 죽은 지 오래돼있고.
죽은 지 오래됐다.
남아있는 거 뭐 통합 디스코드? 그런 거 그거 하나 남아있습니다. 이번에 새로 생긴.
통합 디스코드. Okay. Yeah, so Yambyam wanted to also reply to the class Discord closing down. So I'm sure at least Blue does know about the Inven, right? The inven.co.kr. So that's kind of Korea's version of the Discord stuff.
Right.
But the Korean invert's been dead for a while now. Like having a post about any class, even just once a week on the entire BDO Inven is considered kind of active right now. That's how dead it's been. And then they said there's only basically just one general Discord for BDO in Korea right now, which
That
is also alarming.
Very bad. That is really, really bad. Like, Invent is the only way that, like, Korea, the last time there was a big freak out in the game, like in November when I first got to talk to the Korean community and I met Yambyam and everybody, and the Red Dragon and everybody, it was all Invent, right? They were all freaking out on Invent, and that's how they were communicating with KR. And like, but everyone was at least freaking out on Invent. Now no one's freaking out. It's just, people have just given up. They just don't, like, that's it.
Yeah. I didn't know it was this bad. Holy shit.
It's just pretty bad. Like, I have people in my comment section going, Blue, you're trying to incite a panic. It's your fault. It's just you that's having trouble with the game right now. No, it is not. And it's not just PvPers either.
For the game,
Yeah, I'm tired of people saying it's just the PvPers. It's everyone.
Dude,
We're all in the boat.
It's not even just you either, too. Like, my comment section, dude, when I made that video that you were reacting to earlier, the comments section is a war zone. Everybody's telling me, yo, you're such a doomer. Stop being so negative. Go do something positive. Go do this. Go do that. It's like, dude, what do I do? I'm out of ideas, man. Like, I tried. I've done events, went to IRL events, voiced opinions, tried to do tournaments. When Draconia dropped, I hosted a tournament with another creator that was funded by Pearl Abyss. Like, what do you want us to do? Like, what do we do? It's like we can only do so much before all that's left is bitching and moaning. Like, that's where I'm at least.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, tell us. What did you say?
They were asking about what cooked means. So I was like trying to figure out what are they asking. Because I put chori. I didn't know what they were asking in the Korean chat. So I asked Yambi, I'm like, what are they talking about? What are they asking about? And then, sorry, I thought my mic was muted. I was like,
how are you gonna explain that, bro?
Yeah. So
how do you explain that, bro?
It's kind of hard. Cooked. Well, I mean, cooked could be good and bad, right?
No, it's bad, but in this case, it's
cooked
bad.
is bad. Cooking, he's cooking is the only good thing. So
cooking good, cooked bad.
Good, cooked bad. Means it's overcooked. It's burnt. It's unusable.
Cooking. 또는 let him cook. 그리고 이런 거는
let him cook is good.
쿡이라는 게 막 뭐 잘하고 있을 때 막 달리는 중이네. 잘한다. let him cook. 막 이런 표현하는데 조리를 이제 재밌는 슬랭어로 쓰는 건데요. 근데 cooked ed를 붙이면은 약간 망했다, 탔다, 존망, cooked, 약간 완전 망했다, 약간 타버렸다, 약간 그런 타버렸다는 뜻이에요. 맞아.
하나 배워갑니다.
네.
It means rip, dead.
KR to teach us some
means from rip, deadage. Rest in peace.
Yeah, they were using the Korean word for cook, so I was so confused. What are they asking?
Yeah, that's my chat literally spamming the cook over and over again. Yeah, you can just tell them it's basically rip, rest in peace, deadage. Yeah. Ruined. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Cooked, 망했다. 뭐
that's the best. That's the best translation. Ruined.
Yes, ruined. Yeah. Is where we're at right now. Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add before we kind of do closing thoughts? This is kind of a longer one, but I know it's due to the state of the game. You know what I mean? And we're wrapping it up right at the time that I told Brobear that I was like, it'll end right at that time. I promise. Like, anyone have any like closing thoughts that they'd like to add before we ask Korea?
I'd like to ask a question that like my chat's been asking for is PvP game modes that are not just what exists currently, even for PC, like other game modes, like somebody I brought up personally, Push the Payload and other sort of MOBA aspect game modes that could fit into BDO that are more interesting to do, that require more comp organization, and that you can queue for with cap or uncapped gear, whichever one. A lot of my like console players want PvP that they can queue with their friends, and more game modes that they can do with their friends. Obviously PvE too, but PvP was a big one that console really likes, is to have game modes that people can function with their friends, with their guild mates, and that they can queue for.
Oh.
Sorry, there's a Jay's cooking class.
Yeah,
I swear to God. I swear to God, if the developers announce, okay, we're working on a cooking class, we've heard you. I give up. I quit. I'm throwing in the towel. I'm just white flagging the whole thing. I said I'm done.
Yeah, they're trying to use the term cooked now, and it's really funny.
Yeah. Oh God,
I really
Jay's
think
cooked.
It's
hilarious.
I think the game modes are good. The one thing to be really careful of and it's a thing I think they've already kind of done poorly at times, is you can't have too many different things up at once. I think if it was up to me, I'd have like RBF be like the TDM one, and you have the Valencia one is the capture like the kind of like the domination one, and just like have more RBFs that have like different types of objectives and rotate those. And then instead of it just being you choose a server, you join an RBF, it's just you click the RBF button, it just puts you in RBF. I guess is like, or just or stuff like that. Just because I'm worried about too many things spreading everybody so thin, because it's already like you have BDO, which is like not the biggest community in the universe, and then it's like a small portion wants the PvP, and then that small portion is split between 5-6 different modes already. And if you add even that, I think at times can sometimes mess us up, but even more so if they keep adding more and more.
I agree.
If we had a decent player base, would you feel like would that be more functional if we had a player base that was at least adequate to fill those game modes
100%.
accordingly? Okay, that's
100%. But
curious of.
I still think that just like having like a cup, maybe like each day is different, or every couple days it swaps, or just even if it is like time in a day or something, I don't even know. But a time probably. I don't like time, actually. I take it back. But just, it's just, I'm just worried about people getting split up too much. PvP player base is already a small portion, and splitting that even more just terrifies me. And getting smaller by the day.
That's fair. That's fair, though. That's fair.
One of the Koreans
I have a
said that
question.
Jade and Biden might be friends. I'm sorry. Just go ahead. All right, I'm continuing. Go ahead. Zeus, go ahead.
I have a question for you guys about this subject of new game modes, PvP game modes, and progression of the gear. Do you think it would be good for the game somehow to have a different gear for PvP, or something specific for PvP only on the gear, and you can only obtain that doing PvP modes? Do you think this would change something on the game?
Absolutely.
On this, more people doing PvP
100%.
or more excited to do these PvP modes,
I think that's probably the proper way to motivate people to PvP, in my opinion.
I think it's the way.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
One of the huge things whenever PvP got better rewards was PvE players complaining, hey, we don't want to feel mandatory to PvP to then PvE, right? It was the same when we got the Node War changes, right? Where they were like, oh, but we don't want to do Node Wars to have a PvE buff, right? And that's fine, right? But ask how many PvP players want to grind for 8,000 hours on tongue grid ruins to be able to PvP? Nobody wants that shit. Nobody wanted it ever. Like, everybody hated, or like a majority of people hated grinding circuits for 12 hours a day to be able to participate in a node war. We had to endure it for 7 years.
True.
I believe
agree that immensely.
Sorry, you can go.
Oh, I was gonna just go off of what he was saying. For console specifically, there's a lot of talented players that have thumbs like crazy. Like, they're incredibly like mechanically gifted, but they refuse to grind it. All they do is they sit in BA on a trial character all day and just 1v1. They would play large scale, they would play RBFs, they would do other game modes if they were available and gear wasn't a factor. Me personally, I've always been a huge like advocate for a lot of capped content, because people do not like to grind for gear. They don't want to sit there for hours and hours and hours and just do that. A lot of people on console specifically really prefer capped content for the most part.
Yeah. Wow. I'm playing some other game right now that does that, and it just feel good, If you want the PvP gear, you just go there and do PvP. You're gonna do Battlegrounds. You're gonna do
what game are you playing for the PvP. Rest of us? Yeah, what?
Terra Online. It's a very old game and a very old state, but
like it
does that.
Really good game.
So I didn't even want to mention it, but it does that. It does that. So it has this. You want to have a PvP, you just have to do PvP. That there's people there that wouldn't even kill a mob, and that's just works. Just works.
Divios, go ahead and say your piece here. Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it, you being here.
No, thank you for having me. I just kind of had to gonna leave. But yeah, I mean, it was really good podcast. Hope some stuff changes because I mean, like I said, it's like 9 years, man. It's been a long time. Almost 9 years. It's like it's crazy.
That's where we're at.
And I hope it gets better.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Well, thanks so much,
Good
Divios.
night. Good night, fellas. Good night. Good night.
Yeah.
Good night, man.
Good night.
Hey, Divios.
I think we all hope it gets better, right? None of the people
Yep.
that is quitting is happy about quitting. Everyone is like, hey, I don't really like for
Okay.
all the people that play Throne and Liberty or want to play Throne and Liberty, right? It's like we don't really like Throne and Liberty, but if Throne and Liberty at least tries to do something, then it's going to be better at the current state of BDO. It's not like we think the game's better, but if they handle it better, then it has more potential, I guess, right? Even though it sucks compared to BDO.
Right. Jason, do you want to talk about the thing that you had talked to me before about? Or are we gonna overlook? Are we gonna go past that? This would be the
no, I
time.
can do it if everyone else is done, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, does anyone else have anything that they want to add? Kendaya, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You haven't said anything in a little while. Do you have any closing thoughts or comments?
Yeah, I have a few things. If
Okay,
you
yeah, go
allow
ahead.
me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like for example, like we're talking about open world PP is that how we can make it alive. Vortex changes. They said that they don't want to do that, and I see the reason it behind it because the old Vortex changes, the old Vor declaration system was open to abuse, and people were abusing it and bullying some people, and they don't want to just add that system again. And they said that they will add the new guild system, guild rank system, the new system or something like that. They announced, but they didn't give details. I hope maybe they can fix the war deck changes in that way. And on the other hand, in the open world, in Arsha especially, nothing changed in it. Like in before, we couldn't do PvP like in safe server, same, nothing changed. But in Arsha, people don't want to bother themselves in Arsha. It's because if you want to go there for 50% drop rate, it's just giving me not that much big difference. It's because we already having so many drop rates events, we already having so many things in the game, and we constantly in safe server having 320 drop rate. Like having 370 is not changing. I would love to go grind in Arsha. I'm an hardcap player, but I'm going there. I have to use my PV setup because the difference, the power level difference between PV and PvP setup is huge. Like if I want to change my PV setup to PvP, if anyone just wants to do PvP with me in Arsha server, it takes at least 5 minutes. And then the guy is just leaving, or in 5 minutes we do PvP and the guy left and I have to change it again back like in 5 minutes. So if they add like one click setup change, everything, lightstone, add-ons, crystals and everything. You know, right now we are using the crystals change system, the new UI. They can make something like that, and like we will just click that thing. It will change it will have some 5-second channeling time. Our entire setup will change with one click, so I can do PvP. This will encourage people to stay in Arsha. And on the other hand, like we should increase we should draw attention of people to, hey, come and play in Arsha. Yes, you will take a risk of getting killed by people, but you will have this reward. That reward is important. Right now, there is no reward for an Arsha. This may a little bit save the open world PvP, at least in Arsha. I'm going in Arsha, there is no people. Even if you find people, you kill them. They say, okay, I'm going to save server, because they don't want to change their entire setup for 5 minutes PvP. Yeah, on the other hand, for AOS or for other parts, for AOS, we talked about Shy, isn't it? Mm-hmm. AOS needs to get capped. There is no cap in AOS. I'm saying this for every time. If there is a gear cap, there should be stat cap too. If you have a Shy in your team, Shy is giving you 30 AP, Shy is giving you E-buff, her E-buff and other things, there is no cap, and you're just stacking AP. For example, on the other hand, like Succession Berserker having 63 DR in these days, isn't it? That 60 DR means a lot, like huge difference, because your gear is low. It's like a Twala level, for example. In that Twala level, while you have 400 DR overall, if you add 60 DR, it's like you're just adding one more armor onto you, like, and you're just become unkillable. So in iOS, I want to see a proper stat cap. Like I don't know. This can maybe save the AOS like this, meta situation. Yeah, like overall.
Okay. Yeah, no.
The thing that I can say for last part, thank you for having me for here. What is that may never die for this game.
Yeah, no kidding. I think that Quendya actually brings up an excellent point that hopefully, Brobear, you got to translate there. The Arsha rewards need to be buffed dramatically. In my opinion, yeah, it's just not a high enough incentive for people to go there and incentivize PvP. There have been a few suggestions for this. My suggestion is that they can run big events on Arsha where they buff one grind zone, like in Medaya. Buff a low-level grind zone to be really good, but only on Arsha. And only on the 2 Arsha servers, because it creates a competition for resources. And you can keep your PvP gear on while you're grinding that low-end grind zone. So make Saucons worth 4 billion silver an hour. Okay, well then you can grind with Nuver and all your PvP buffs and but it's only on Arsha, so you can't just swap and get away because then it's just not good on the other servers, right? And they could rotate it. They could make it Helms the next week or Desert Falcons another week or whatever, or any grind zone that they wanted. Would be really interesting. That could be like a rotating thing for them. They could also just buff rewards on Arsha in general. You can go ahead and take the floor, Brobear, if you just want to talk.
No, I'm good. I missed a lot of it, but then I came back as you're TLDRing, so I'm trying to translate that right now.
You're good?
Yeah. Sorry, what did you ask me? Sorry, I was trying to catch up for everything I missed.
You're
I was
good.
disconnected for
Arsha
like 3
rewards,
minutes.
Arsha rewards got to get buffed.
Yeah,
they're too low to incentivize PvP.
Yeah.
There's a number of ways to do this aside from just dropping the buff rate. You think that Arsha events would be really good where you just buff individual grind zones? Like Saucons is a good example. Like a low level grind zone where you can wear your PvP gear and full PvP loadout and just grind and just make 4 billion an hour, but it's only buffed on Arsha, which creates a competition for resources and everyone's going to want to go grind there. So it will encourage PvP and then they can rotate it to other spots like pirates, right? To help bring back some of those old days. Maybe there's some nostalgia there. You're making a whole lot of money doing it. Well, let's be honest, you're not. You're going to get PvP a tremendous amount. So I think that people would have fun with that. But there's a lot of different ways they need to encourage open world PvP because it's dead right now. Because they insisted on this check change instead of just enforcing their TOS to begin with. They've got to help open world PvP get back on its feet as well. I think it was what Quendya was kind of referring to. I'll let you go. Go ahead, Brobear, if you want to translate that.
Saying the last part.
Okay.
I'm just gonna say the last part.
Yeah.
그리고 제가 쓴 거 말고는 이제 오픈월드 PVP도 이제 그 길드끼리 쟁을 거는 거를 바꾸기보단 애초에 TOS에 써 있는 그런 어뷰징이나 사람들을 이제 저격하는 뭐 이런 상황일 때는 밴을 제대로 매기지 않고 오픈월드 PVP를 죽이는 방식으로 한 것도 너무 실수라는 이런 표현이었습니다. 대충 좀 많이 놓쳤는데. 네.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does Yambyam have a response or no? Because he's a PvPer, so I assume that he probably has an opinion on that.
야미님 그거에 대한 의견 있으세요? 방금 말한 그 아르샤 서버 등등. 예.
일단 아르샤 구조 자체가
네.
되게 기형적인 구조긴 해요. 아르샤가 이게 검은 사막은 사냥 PV 세팅, PVP 세팅 따로 있는데 이제 아르샤 자체에서 이득을 보기 위해서 PVE 세팅으로 가면은 이제 절대 PVP 세팅한 유저를 이길 수 없고, 그렇다고 PVP 세팅으로 바꾸면은 이제 그 아르샤의 이점인 사냥 드랍률 그 혜택을 사실상 못 받는 거잖아요. 사냥이 제대로 안 되니까. 그래서 이런 구조적인 문제가 제일 큰 게 아르샤인데, 저 말한 오히려 그런 세팅에 구애받지 않는 저레벨 사냥터 몹들한테 실버 올려준 거 되게 좋은 의견인 것 같습니다.
네.
그리고 저 개인적으로는 저 의견 플러스 따로 이나 말고도 아르샤에서만 나오는 특별한 뭐 인장이라던가 그런 걸로 추가 수익을 여러 아이템 교환해서 추가 수익 얻을 수도 있으면 좋을 것 같아요. 저는 그렇게 좀 아르샤 좀 개선해서 뭐라도 살렸으면 좋겠다. 그리고 그 뭐지? 외국에도 있나? 그 이름 안 보이는 아르샤?
있어요. 네.
그거
Anonymous Arsha라고 있어요. 네.
거기 그거 계속 냅둘 거면 거기 파티도
음.
못하게 바꿔주면 어떨까 싶어요. 거기는 완전 개인 솔로로만. 이제 길드 힘 약한 사람들은 일반 아르샤에서 길드 상대방이 길드원 불러버리면 아무것도 못하잖아요.
네.
그런 사람들 위해서라도 무명 아르샤는 파티조차도 못하게 완전 개인 솔로 개인전 그렇게 좀 바꿔줬으면 좋겠어요. 저는.
오, 재밌겠다. Yeah. Okay. So he said he was agreeing with you with that first part, like grinding mobs in Arsha. You can't go in with a PvP set because you'll just get melted or hunted down by people in PvP gear that are solely there to hunt people down. So he completely agrees with increasing this, like a good idea that you suggested as an example, increasing silver per hour for lower mobs so you can actually farm in PvP gear, and you'll always be ready to scrap it out in Arsha. He also said he thinks anonymous Arsha shouldn't even allow party, and he thinks if they're going to keep anonymous Arsha server, they should make it like solo PvP only for anonymous Arsha to make it fair, rather than having parties. And yeah, that was a suggestion.
Okay.
Making anonymous Arsha solo only. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like that too. BW. Okay, so we got through that. ZeusGhostz, do you have any final closing comments? First of all, I want to say thank you so much for showing up and being on the podcast for the first time. I'm sure that South America very much appreciates you trying to lend a voice as well. So they were very excited in my chat showing up like that as well. So do you want to have any closing thoughts here?
Oh yeah, man. Thanks for the invite as well. And yeah,
Mods, can we get a shout out for these people?
Arsha
all
thing,
of them?
this reward, make the rewards better on Arsha. It's one thing, but I believe they should try to incentivize people to do PvP for the PvP, on Arsha. Because for me, the Arsha server has this conflict that you go there because it's a PvP server, but the reward is to kill more mobs and get more rewards to kill more mobs. So for me, there is a conflict there. I believe they should try to do something on Arsha that incentivize players to go there to do PvP, and that's it. You go there to kill other players, and that will give you some reward in some point. That this conflict for me doesn't make sense. To fix that, we're gonna go to that problem of changing gears, because we have a different gear for PvE, a different gear for PvP. So we need to change that fast if we're gonna have this scenario that we have right now. So I agree with that, but I believe that if Arsha was a server that incentivized PvP for PvP, it would be more functional. But again, thank you again for the invite, and I hope I can be here again some other time. I'll try to be this time we have right now. It's more effective for me. I can be here in this time, and it was nice to be part of this. So thank you again for the invite.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of it. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And console, you're used to going last in most cases, but you're not last this time. Thank you so much, SwordKings, for coming on and being a part of the podcast and representing console for the first time, and like answering all those questions. Do you have closing thoughts that you wanna share?
I hope PA does watch this. I hope that they understand that console's been cooked for a long time, and I really hope that the communication comes back. I wish Trent and Sharno were still around to give us some content and at least to give us a voice that we have. I would prefer that we have at least some kind of communication right now, because this radio silence is making everybody uneasy, and a lot of the blowback goes onto the content creators that are available, and they kind of take on the role of the CMs because the CMs are not available. So a lot of the hate, a lot of the distaste for the game and destruction that comes along with all the chats and everything falls on the creators. And I hope that they take responsibility a bit more and kind of stop throwing the content creators under the bus. We gave up a lot to put up this whole, just in general, create content for the game to try and create hype, generate some kind of income for the game and views for the game and get people talking and interested in it. And I would say that right now they're kind of just wasting our time, and it kind of sucks. And I wish that they would do a bit more for us as content creators in terms of paying more attention and being more communicative and taking responsibility.
Okay. Very well said. Very well said. Especially the deal about the content creators there. Thank you. Brobear, I do want to say thank you so much. You have no idea how important it is to the entire community that you're here for us to translate like this, because we don't have very many people that can do this, speak fluent English and translate, and you do a tremendously good job for us. So guys, make sure you go all give Brobear a follow there and support him. We love him to death. Thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you.
Do you want to shout out your stream schedule? Like your normal stream schedule?
I'm just on every day. I don't really have a schedule. It's just 7 days a week. Just always on.
He's just a gremlin.
Oh, what? Yeah, I am a gremlin these days. Yambyam, he also wanted to add one thing. I was just waiting for everyone else to stop. It's back to the Arsha thing. I think it's a really good, easy solution for PA too. If the others, he suggested just make the mobs in Arsha human, then you can just rock PvP gear. If they don't want to deal with switching things around, if they make all the mobs or like only have human mobs in Arsha, then people can farm with human damage. So yeah, that was the last thing he wrote.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. I think we're all basically on the same page. It's crazy how similar our thoughts on this stuff is. Why don't we ask?
They don't listen.
Does Yambyam have closing thoughts at all that he would like to share? Of course, I'd please iterate. Thank you so much for him coming on to the podcast. We really appreciate it. We love communicating with him and the Korean community. It's so thankful that the West, I mean, we feel like that Yambyam and his chat and the Korean community, you guys are the only connection we have to knowing what is going on over there in Korea. And we very much so appreciate that input and showing up and like talking to us and communicating with us.
야미야미 이제 마지막 코멘트 기회인데요. 그 전에 이제 브루님이 되게 감사하다고 항상 특히나 이제 북미뿐만 아니라 여러 해외 서버 분들이 궁금해하고 한국 서버를 알아갈 수 있는 다리는 진짜 이제 얌비암님이랑 얌비암님의 시청자들밖에 없어서 진짜로 없잖아요. 이제 북미든 EU, 미나 다 이제 KR 서버에 대한 궁금한 것들도 많고 현재 상황 너무 궁금해하고 있는데 항상 이렇게 저희와 함께 해주시고 시간 내주셔서 너무 감사하다고 하셨고, 또 마지막 인사나 또 코멘트가 있으신지.
항상 이 자리 초대해줘서 저도 항상 감사드리고요. 그리고 통역해주신 브로베어님도 사실상 브로베어님 없으면 성립 안 되는 자리잖아요.
브로베어님 잘 되는데요.
감사드리고 저는 그냥 검은 사막이 건강해졌으면 좋겠습니다. 재밌는 게임 됐으면 좋겠어요. 이렇게라도 좀 퍼러비스가 들어줄 가능성이 있다면 저는 언제든 달려오겠습니다. 항상 감사드려요.
Yeah, so Yambyam's last comment is just thanking everyone here and always including him in the talks, and like he also he said that he really hopes that BDO would become better and make good changes for the players, and he's just thanking us.
Right on. Okay, and now ChampionJason.
I'm gonna be free now. Put on the camera. I hope nobody fucking cares. I apologize for the mess in the background.
Okay.
I apologize for the mess in the background. I got some people over for the Gamescom.
Where's the mess though? I don't see it.
Nah, bro, it's completely cooked, but it's fine.
It's good.
A lot of the people here probably don't even know me. That's fine, but I asked Blue to host or like to join me the last 5 minutes of the podcast. I will do basically the same shit that Divios did a few days ago. I will, for the time being, not stream BDO anymore. I don't know if I stream anything else at all, to be honest. But after over 7.5, close to 8 years now, with no breaks at all, this is gonna be the first time personally where I will take a leave from BDO. I didn't start the game since iOS ended, basically, except for like half an hour of Siege. That was pure misery that I will not do again this Saturday. yeah, I'm eternally grateful for what Perlevis has done for me in the past 3 years that I've been a partner. I got to join like over 3 years ago to the partner program. Time has flown by very fast. I made a lot of friends, long-lasting memories, especially the Voice of Adventurers and the Heidelball, like the IRL events. Amazing stuff. If you guys ever can get the chance to attend there, go for it. Yeah, I've made a lot of friends, but for the current time being, I have zero motivation to start the game, and it doesn't seem to get better. It's been about 2 weeks now. The last AOS week has been pure misery. I've basically dreaded myself to start the game, and every day I just wake up and I'm like, I should stream again. Like, I haven't streamed in 2 weeks, and like, maybe not everyone in chat is gonna understand, but I can tell you the streamers here will understand. If you have not streamed for 5, 6, 7, 8 days straight, it does weigh on you mentally, and you feel like pressure to do it again. But at the same time, I literally don't enjoy the game at all currently. There's nothing I want to do in the game. PvE is pointless. PvP is, as I said, PvP was the only reason I played this game for I don't know how many years now. But I have no more motivation to do so. And until something changes, I will probably stay away from the game, sadly. It's something that does not come light. As said, I haven't made a single break in 7.5 years of playing the game. Yeah, I'm very grateful for all the people that have been with me on the journey here. I'm very grateful to be part of this podcast, and if there's going to be another iteration where I play the game, I can gladly hop in and provide input if I do know the game by then again. And yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for
sorry
letting
to see
me yoink the end here.
Of course.
But
I'm playing fucking Final Fantasy right now, bro.
Motivation. No, I don't even have the motivation to make like a closing stream or something where I just say goodbye myself, because I don't want to stream the game. Like I don't want to boot up BDO. I have it installed, but I didn't start it in like over a week basically. I don't know. So I just do it here quickly. Like half of the people in the chat probably don't even know me. It's perfectly fine. Ignore it, I guess. But yeah, I'm glad to have been part of this, and I hope everyone else gets to enjoy the game. And I want to see the game succeed. If there's any good change coming out of this, I will gladly be the first one to return and play the game again. I've tried for years to provide good feedback to the game, but it seems to not be heard for the majority of it. Only very little part seems to get heard, if anything at all. And yeah, thank you very much.
Jason, I think I speak for the rest of the American or North American creators when I say that you were kind of a staple in the EU community. We absolutely loved basically all of the content that you would put out. You were cooking, and we're gonna be really sad that you're not with us anymore. Another one bites the dust in this case. Are you gonna play Throne and Liberty?
I did ask my old guild lead, because they're basically recreating the guild in there. I will try it out. It's not really my type of game with the targeting and stuff. I will give it a shot and see. Like I do feel a bit lost without BDO. Like I don't know, man. Days are very long, I must admit. Like what do I do the entire day? I legit do IRL stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, we will see. I will try it out for sure.
Okay, right on. Well, I personally, I do not like seeing you go. I'll be honest. I don't. You're my go-to guy for a lot of things. And like you're the guy I really connected with for EU content. So it means a lot to me that you did it here, and I'm really sorry to see you go, man. And I'm hoping that you come back. We'll keep working hard to try to fix the game so that you can come back and have a good time. All right, guys, that is going to go ahead and be a wrap for the United Nations podcast. Hopefully developers are listening. We don't do this for our health. Lord knows the time zones are a little cooked. As honestly, my favorite part about this podcast is watching the Korean culture and like the rest of the world's culture kind of collide. We taught them based in the first UN podcast, and now we've taught them cooked. Jay cooked. That's right, bro. It's absolutely cooked. So yeah. Yeah, guys, just keep advocating for change. Never give up that the game can be better and will be better. We all care very much about Black Desert Online. So from all of us here at the UN Podcast, thanks so much. And like and subscribe. Go check out all the other creators here. They'll be in the link to the description as well, because this will be posted on YouTube. Check them all out. We appreciate everybody that came on to support their various regions and communities. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you.
Yeah.
Peace out, guys.
Good night,
guys.
everybody.
Peace and love.
Thank you.
얌얌님 들어가세요.
바이바이.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Good night, boys.
Mhm.